mobs exist, cartels exist. You're telling me the rich and powerful don't have their own like bad boys club?
Yeah, I don't think it's like they're lizards.
I think hey, you never know, bro. Denver Airport.
Maybe.
What's up, you guys, and welcome to another episode of Todo Chido. I am your host, Julyssa, and of course, I am here with the boys, Steve and Brandon. Say what's up, y'all.
What's up?
And of course, today we have a guest. Would you like to
Hello.
introduce yourself?
My name is Patrick Morales, and I am a guest on today's episode.
Wow, full name.
Yeah,
Wanna
well,
give your address
I know.
too?
Yeah, give your address and your social security too, bro.
My name is Walter White, and I live.
I remember I stole like this girl in my classroom's like book. Like, I stole her book, and that shit was like my favorite book. I think I've told this a long time ago. I told this story. It was the book to read in the dark. Do you remember what was it called? Scary
like
stories
Scary
to read in the
Stories?
dark. It was that. It was like, bro, that shit is sick. It had like the silver color. Like I gotta steal
yeah.
that shit. And I remember I took it, and I had that book for like 2 years, like in my house. And then one day for school, we were like gonna have a test, and we needed to like read after. And I'm like, I'm gonna bring that book. I remember I was reading it, and just like 2 years later, bro, she saw it. She's like, "Is that my book?" And I was like, no, it's not. And she opened up like a secret passage, like a secret
she opened up a
page, and
page?
she wrote her initials on it. And I was like, damn. And it was gone. And I never told my sister about it because I felt ashamed.
No wonder I never
I felt
saw
embarrassed.
it.
And she was literally like years later, she's like, I always wondered where that book went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
But
it
you
was
see,
just-
like I've just fucked up. I was just a little kid.
You never
Like, I
saw
know that's
that-
wrong now.
yeah. What? Now you would have been like, damn, now I gotta like look for initials, you know?
Yeah. That's what I really learned.
That's what really.
Yeah.
that's what really
You guys never
learned.
did like dumb shit like that as a kid where you did something bad and you actually got punished for it? Or you always got away with it?
Nah, I stole someone's
never?
pencils. I think in like the second
Actually, no.
grade.
What'd you say?
I stole someone's like pencils. Like, you know how there used to be like those really like creative like pencils with their gigantic,
What, bro?
their giant like erasers.
Unbelievable.
Because my parents wouldn't buy me anything. Like my parents couldn't really like afford buying like fancy
Yeah, how do you
stuff.
feel about it now, bro?
That
guilt
makes
tripping
stealing
you.
okay, bro? Nah, I don't know. Okay.
And I remember they started looking for them and they were in my desk and then I got punished for it.
I remember one
Yeah.
time that I did get away with something, and I was like this close to not getting away with it. Is I remember I think I got like a bad grade, or like it's one of those things where you did so bad, they're like, nah, take this home, and your parents have to sign it. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
When you did that bad on a test, and I didn't want to because Julie would know, like our parents lose our shit when we would get bad grades, like. It'd be worse because they would only just punish me; they'd punish my siblings. So not only do I have the like bad stares of my parents, but I have the bad stares of my siblings. So I was like, "There's no way! Like I can't let my parents see this bad grade." So I remember I forged their signature like on it. What? You swear you've never done anything bad?
I didn't.
Okay. Anyways, I forged their signature, right? And then I remember that my teacher, she saw it. And she was immediately like, "This is sus," because I was probably like shitty work. Like my craftsmanship wasn't there
Oh,
yet.
like it was chicken scratch?
Yeah, and she's like, "Steve, come here." Dude, I remember. I'm getting anxiety right now just remembering it. And I remember she was like, "Yeah," and it's like, "Are you sure your parents signed this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I called her bluff. I was like, "Yeah, they signed it." And there's like, "So if I called your parents right now, if I went to the office and called your parents, they'd know that they signed this." And I remember I doubled down.
You're
I was
like,
like,
yeah.
and like my dad doesn't like being interrupted at work, so if you call him, like he's probably just gonna get mad.
Oh.
And she was like, "Okay," and she took it, and nothing ever happened. Yeah.
Finesse.
So that was the one time I got away with it.
Finesse.
But I never did it again because that
Confidence is
anxiety
key.
was
Confidence
crazy.
is key.
Confidence is
You
key.
gotta call the bluff.
Confidence is key. Yeah.
Right.
You wanted to talk about something else, right? About that's
Oh,
happening
Tom
in the
Brady?
news? Yeah.
What do you think about that? How you?
Explain.
you guys see
Give me
that?
the background.
All right, so Tom Brady has been known to be people call his affection towards his son into question a lot because they kiss on the lips. But recently he posted on his story like a picture of his son sitting on his lap and they're both like shirtless, and then it's another picture where their feet are like together, and that's really it. People are just saying it's weird. Do you guys think it's weird? Do you think it's weird?
No.
People just don't have that father figure in their life, bro.
You think so? So you and your dad did that when you were younger?
That's no. My father
He
figure-
wishes, bro.
I wish.
I wish I wish my dad would
I'm
kiss
just
me on the
kidding,
lips.
no.
Real.
You're right. Maybe you and me are just damaged. I thought it was a little odd. But I mean, like,
But didn't you guys say that there's like a weird history about it? or whatever.
It's just that he's always like kissing his son on the lips, and people have always said that it's a little weird.
People just always take issue
Um,
with how he shows affection towards his son.
And I guess the only like real opinion I gave is I asked, I'll keep them anonymous. I asked parents of like how do they feel about kissing their son on the lips, and they're like, I mean, I kiss my son on the lips like sometimes. Like they both said that they do. But they both said that probably when he gets older, they probably won't do it anymore. Like when he gets older, probably like Tom Brady's kid's age. And I asked them, have they heard about the whole Tom Brady thing, about how like he's not in hot water or anything, just people are just fixated on it.
Yeah.
And he's like, would you think it's weird if you kissed your son in the back of his neck? And the dad was like, that's a little weird, yeah. And then the mom was like, well, I mean, what does it look like? So I showed her the picture. And they both thought it was weird.
Really?
They both as parents thought it was a little weird. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. In the first picture, he's kissing his son in the back of the neck. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said they thought it was, but their opinion is they thought it was weird just because he's a lot older. But at least on the side of Tom Brady is I've seen, I don't know if you've seen that famous clip of where they ask him like who's your hero, like and he's like, who's my hero? And at first he's like kind of laughing. And then he gets really serious and he starts tearing up and he's like, probably my dad. So for Tom Brady, like the father-son dynamic is very precious.
Yeah.
So I kind of understand like
I think he just really loves his son.
Yeah.
So,
Is it his only son?
I don't know.
He has like a daughter too, no?
Oh really?
I think so. I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
I
We can look
does
it up.
he have
We can
other
look it up.
kids?
I
Or
think
is it
he has.
just him?
No, I think he has more than one kid.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
Mhm. I don't know. I didn't think it was weird. I just in general was like, my guy just really loves his son. I mean, if it eventually comes out that some shit was going on, then like that's when
They'll be like,
eventually.
damn, the signs were always there.
But I feel like I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Like, cause I don't know. Cause I always feel like I hear people when they're like, oh, if it was a mom, like it wouldn't be weird. But I'm like, then what's the difference with like, if it's like the dad just really wants to be affectionate. Like, is it wrong
he
for
is divorced too.
for the-
So
yeah, like, is it wrong for the dad to be like just as affectionate as the mom is? Like, how is that bad? Like, I don't know. I think I just think it's weird, like that people are thinking that it's weird because I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like he's just very affectionate and he's very close to his parents. Like, I feel like I would want to be like that with my kids, you know? Like, I would really want to be close with them and, like, knowing that they have, like, my love and everything, you know? Because I remember I saw a lot of my classmates when I was in middle school, and one of the girls kissed her mom on the lips. And I remember that was weird because, like, I don't do that with my parents. We do cheek to cheek.
My mom thinks it's weird. She
But they
doesn't
did
like the
it,
kiss on
but
lips.
they would do it to lips. And I remember I was just like, interesting, but I was just like, whatever, like that's just like their way of doing it, right? So when I saw the things and then I saw people being like a little outrageous about it, I'm like, bro, they're just being affectionate. Like, it's just a father son. They have a really great relationship.
Yeah.
probably like a culture thing too.
You think so? It's because it's white?
Probably low key, yeah.
You think so?
I don't know. I think just people kind of tend to think that kissing on the lips is more of a romantic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That they don't really associate it with the familial thing.
Yeah. So then
Because
to
a lot
cross,
of people also kiss their babies on their lips.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've seen people do that. It's not like it's like he's the only person I've ever seen do that.
Yeah.
I think it's just the fact that he's a celebrity that people care so much.
Yeah.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I feel like.
But I just wonder, like, I feel like it has something to do with like masculinity. Because I thought we were past this, bro. I really thought this is something that like.
No, I think it
Probably,
is.
probably,
I think
probably.
it is. I think that's what it has to do.
Because Tom Brady's supposed to be, how tall is Tom Brady? Either way, he's a football player,
Yeah,
right?
well,
He's like
yeah.
a
Supposed to
big
be a tough
guy.
guy, yeah.
He's supposed to be tough. He's supposed to be strong. Like, he's the GOAT, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So to see, you said he is the GOAT?
He is the go, bro. He's
Yeah,
got,
but
like, 5
that's why,
rings.
like, to see your GOAT, I guess, be like so vulnerable, right? I guess for a lot of dudes who are very strong in toxic masculinity, to them it was like, oh,
I don't know. I feel like I see a lot of women criticizing him too. I feel like I see a
Really?
good amount of both sides. I just see people.
But I think it's
like,
this, it falls in the same thing of like the masculinity thing. Like,
I don't know if I feel like it's a masculinity thing. I just feel
Really?
like people. I just feel like people are sexualizing it for no reason. Like people are like, it's not like that, and people are making it like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
There's like a tweet I saw that talked about it. It was like, oh, the stigma of sexual like fantasies kind of plagued our minds.
Oh
Thinking,
yeah, I saw that
like,
too. Yeah.
Whoa. It's weird.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Because
That's a hot
everything,
take.
because they're saying that like things are just very like overly like sexualized now.
I heard not to I don't know, he's in hot water right now, but did you ever hear what Kanye had to say about it? Because do you remember how
He talked about it.
he didn't, not specifically the Tom Brady thing, but he's talking about the over sexualization in like
What did he
in
say?
media nowadays. You know, there was like this big, I don't know if you knew about this, but he had this big argument with Kim Kardashian about like letting Northwest be on TikTok, like letting her have social media and stuff. And Kim said, yeah, well, because she's like an influencer, and
Yeah.
Kanye was like, no. And he said the reason why is because he feels as though like on TikTok, like it's basically like kids dancing and shaking their bodies for like older people, for like an older audience, because it's not really regulated.
Yeah.
So he feels as though like it's made people more open to the idea of sexualizing kids, and he doesn't want his kid to be on there and be another sexual object for older people to look at. And I was like, damn, that's kind of that's an interesting take.
It is a little weird because I also saw this one about this lady who used to show her baby all the time, and she would just show like when she would feed it, when she would like do all these things with her baby, and then eventually she kind of stopped because I guess like it was just getting weird like in the comments, and then there was this lady who actually posted a video to her basically saying like, no, like don't stop posting your baby, like I really want to see your baby, like your baby's really cute, like don't stop. Like she was basically like in super urge of like don't stop, like I really want to see your baby, like. And I don't know, I feel like, I mean, you see a lot of like kids also like posting, and like there's just a lot of weirdos out there.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
celebrities feel really strong about it. I don't know if you've seen it. Some celebrities, when there's like a family picture that they post, they cover their
babies.
they cover the kids' faces.
Yeah.
And then I guess because people sexualize them a lot.
I think with like celebrities, they probably hate constantly being like on camera, so they probably don't want their kids to feel that way. Like, they want their kids to feel like some privacy and like have normal lives. So maybe it's that.
No, well, it's because I've seen them actually state that's why though. It's like the sexual
sexualization.
thing. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really care that much about what Tom Brady did. The only reason I thought it was kind of funny is because when I first saw the picture, I genuinely thought it was a woman. Like, I thought it was him and a woman.
I agree too. Yeah.
So that's why I kind of thought it was a little funny. But other than that, I don't really care. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
well, this relates to my topic that I wanted to talk about was the internet. But more specifically, kids. About when you were a kid on the internet. Do you feel like it shaped the way you are now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
There was less
The way he googled.
restrictions.
You're like that meme. Unrestricted internet access be
access
giving
and
me
like,
dissociation.
Exactly. Like you be seeing like unrestricted shit that you don't need to see, like someone's death or something.
Did you watch a lot of gore when you were a kid?
No, like I didn't intentionally watch it; it just popped up.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It was
like
like one of those
YouTube.
things where they would trick you.
Yeah,
I get scared all the time on TikTok, bro.
What do you mean?
Because because mostly just for me, because I experienced like something on YouTube, where it was just like a pop up of like a demon or whatever.
Like a jump scare.
Yeah, it was like a jump scare. And so now when I scroll on things, so every time I usually go, I'm always scared that something's gonna like prank me and pop up again. So like especially on TikTok, because TikTok is mostly just video. Like I'm always kind of like waiting on it. There was this one that was it was a car going down a hill. And it triggered me because it was that one where it's like
ghost car.
Ghost car. Yeah, it like triggered me, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to watch this. So I scrolled, and then I was like, wait, I'm gonna go back to actually see if it is. But it was like something. But I remember I had it like face down like this, and I could still see it. But then it didn't like nothing popped out. But I was just like, nah, bro, like that shit was triggering.
You didn't hide in the
you don't hide in
comments.
the comments.
Yeah,
I hide in the comments.
I took the comments
Yeah.
scary.
For the jump scares.
I used to do that too on YouTube. I used to check on like the comments.
Do you remember when there was like an evolution on the internet? I don't know if you guys remember this, but like everything had like a creepypasta. Do you know what a creepypasta is, Janae? Everything
Like
had a
the Phineas and
creepypasta.
Ferb
That was like
like
in
the
our high
SpongeBob
school years, so
ones?
no, like 20,
Suicide Squidward.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Squidward suicide. Yeah, or
Isn't it crazy that they referenced him in the show?
did they really?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
seen
yeah.
that.
It was banned, though, the show?
Yeah, they
episode?
took it out, but they show him in the show, like actually.
Really?
Wait, who?
So you've seen that, right? Suicide Squidward. That's the creepypasta in SpongeBob. Like a year ago, there's an episode where they show like it's not exactly that one, but they draw and it's supposed to be him. And it's like they reference him.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not scary. I've seen it. It's just like but they took it out.
That's how infamous, I guess the
that one
Suicide
was.
Squidward one was. Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like when I was on the internet as a little kid, there was a lot of shit that really
Well,
affected
as
me
a kid,
in a negative way.
As a kid, creepypasta scared me, but now I'm like, cringe.
Yeah, they're totally
Yeah,
whack now.
yeah.
But I mean, like beyond that, like I remember.
Oh, like gore videos?
Yeah, I told you right about that kid that went to
Yeah.
our middle school, and he like left for like 2 years, and he came back for a fair that we were having, and I was wearing a Brock Lesnar versus like CM Punk shirt, and it had like a picture of like the beast that Brock Lesnar has, and he's like, bro, like that's a sign of the devil. And I was like, I watch these videos all the time about like conspiracy theories and like diving deep into. We were like 12, bro. This kid was like in psychosis mode.
Yeah.
Like he was totally gone because of it.
Right.
I mean, I feel like I had a moment where I was literally shaking after I saw a conspiracy video about the Mayan calendar, about how the world was gonna end in 2012. It was probably just promotional thing, but I remember it was saying that like the world is definitely gonna end.
I remember you didn't even want to watch the movie 2012.
Bro, did 2012 scare you guys?
The movie
Yeah, 2012. Yeah,
or
the
the
movie.
year?
Both, kind of both.
The year scared me, not the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you thought the world was gonna end?
Yeah, I did, low key. I don't remember the time I was waiting for it. I was in my cousin's house, and I was looking. It was like a nice sunset, and I was like, "This is it, huh?" I was just waiting for it, closing my eyes, and I'm like,
I'm dead.
nothing happened.
You were around level and
Yeah, I was
you
like,
were-
I was already coming between it. Like, this is life.
Mm.
I gave
I
up.
lived a
I gave
good,
up, I
uh,
accepted my fate.
How old are you?
I don't know, 2012, like
probably like 13 and 14.
14.
You were like, I lived a nice
I lived a
13
nice-
I was like, I think this is a good
nice
life.
13
Lucky
years.
13.
Yeah.
Lucky 13. You never felt that way, bro?
For about 2012, yeah, I was scared.
Yeah, you were.
But I was more, and I feel like because nobody took it seriously, at least the older people around me, it made me more scared because I was like, come on, guys. Aren't you guys scared? But in terms of like the internet thing, I don't know. I feel like I get confused about it because it's like, on one hand, people are like, oh, we're so desensitized and we don't give a fuck because of all this stuff on the internet. But at the same time, everybody's like super sensitive on the internet. You know, I'm kind of like, well, I feel like I don't really see how they track. You know, so that's why I'm like, I mean, maybe I don't deny that people probably saw some disturbing shit and are affected by it. But I sometimes I'm like, I don't know about the fact that like, oh, we're so messed up because of it. Maybe I don't know though. You know what I mean? Because it's like, then why is it? But it could be like, maybe because it was so scary that people feel like a need to overcompensate the like being sensitive or like being like super. So I don't know.
Well, cause for sure, like I know I watched, and probably Patrick, you watched like gore videos when you were growing up, but like for sure, Julie, you never saw that shit, right? I saw a video of a guy talking about how he used to watch a lot of gore videos when he was younger, when he was like literally a little kid, and it was mainly because his friends wanted to watch it. He was like, oh, like it was like their way of showing their toughness. I guess it relates to masculinity in a way. But he talked about how now he suffers a lot from like dissociation. He dissociates a lot.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I find it interesting too because I don't know who I was talking about it with, but it was an older person.
Really?
Not old, like old, but like old enough to be around before the internet, be a kid before the internet. And they were talking about snuff films, about how like people would watch that, like kids would get like VHS tapes of like gore and shit like that. So I'm like, you know what I mean? Like it's the same thing with porn with them too, where they'd sneak a Playboy or they you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So I'm kind of like, I mean, I don't know. Like, and I get it. The internet's easier, and you could probably find. I'm sure there's people who are watching that shit every day nonstop. You know what I mean? But I don't know. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess for me, the only thing I'd add to our argument of maybe our generation is a little bit weirder is that like when the internet was really blowing up, I'd say it was around the year 2005 because that's when YouTube started coming out, which is only 4 years removed from 9/11. And 9/11 just brought about like so many like paranoid like conspiracies that like were out there that I even remember, bro, like as a little kid looking at 9/11 videos. Not only is 9/11 also kind of gore because of all the people that died, but it's also like then leads you down a rabbit hole of like conspiracies.
What about like the satanic panic of the 80s or like all these other times?
But they didn't have the internet, bro.
Yeah, but there was you don't think it's a little weird if your parents are telling you that the devil's in everything you're watching, that if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, the devil's gonna get you? You don't think there's a little bit of like there's some equal like common ground there? I feel
I can.
I feel like
What
at
the
the
fuck are you
time
talking
there
about?
is.
or like the 50s, right, where there was the communists and all this shit. I feel like there's always something of that nature in society. There's always something like that's scaring people or paranoid people. I get what you're saying. Like I'm not saying like but I'm that's why whenever people kind of are like, nah, this is, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of always been around. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I
don't know.
could see that argument too. Yeah.
Because like, and if you want to say like oh well, there's so much of it now. Well, there's kind of a lot of
well,
everything now.
I
though,
guess
you
it's
know?
more accessibility. It's more accessibility because yeah, that shit was around before. But like, let's say you're in the '80s, right, and your parents are yelling about you about how your shows, the kid shows you're watching, the movies you're watching, the music you're listening to is all Satanism. To really dive deep into that, you have to like go to the library, get a book, or like talk to somebody, get a book. On the internet, you take out your phone, you just look up like devil music and
No,
the
that's
stuff I'm
true.
listening
But like,
to.
what I'm getting at is like all right, the '80s, the '60s, or whatever. There's your parents saying like, don't hang out with this kid because he's black, or like
Mhm.
they're telling you don't do this because they're gay. Or I'm saying that there exists a lot of stuff that was really wrong. That like when you grow up, you get what I'm saying. Like they're exposed
Mhm.
to racism, homophobia, to like in a more like acceptable sense in society, where everybody was saying like, you get what I'm trying to get at?
Mhm.
Like I'm sure growing up in the 50s and hearing that the black friend that you have in school is like, you shouldn't hang out with him, he's less than you, like don't do this, call him this, fuck this guy, he's not equal to you. Like you don't think hearing that kind of shit and across the board with gay people or other minorities or other types of shit that people were scared of or tripping about back in the day, you don't think that kind of filled the niche of what the internet kind of filled?
I
So cause
kinda, but I feel like all those things that you're naming still exist plus the internet.
I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying like
No, I
feel
know, but
like
I know you're not saying that, but I'm saying like those things still exist, and then you add the internet to the mix is what I think adds to the
I
acceleration.
just feel like the way I see it is the internet just took the place, where it's like people used to do that before, but now the internet does it for. People used to give you the propaganda. You'd hear it from your parents. You'd hear it from the kids at school, at church. Where now it's like you don't got to do that because the internet does it for you. So when people are like, "Oh, the internet is," I'm like, I feel like it's kind of the same. No, I admit though, like you can get much more quickly on the internet. So maybe, but I'm kind of like, I don't know, because I feel like things are technically better, So it's like,
Yeah, true. Because then
That's-
you could find the opposite, right? You could also find all the shit that says that's bullshit, right?
That's why, like, it's like the internet just like enhances everything. So I mean, I don't know, like, but like, I mean, I don't think it's cool to see. I'm sure though there is like an effect to seeing like a decapitation as a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. I feel like people saw gnarly shit when they were kids. Back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And IRL, because that shit was like acceptable.
Didn't you say your dad talks about it like in LA?
Yeah, my
There'd be
dad.
like dead bodies
My
everywhere?
dad used to say that he'd run into dead bodies all the time, every now and again. That one time when he was a kid, he just ran into like a dead body and it like freaked him the fuck out, and that he had to tell his dad, and his dad was like, "All right, like I'll take care of it." And they called the authorities and shit.
Damn.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I'm sure that also feels like as
that's
scarring.
probably scarring too.
Yeah, it's probably scarring too.
On par with the internet, or
I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying like people are tripping about the internet
Yeah.
thing. I'm just curious because I'm like, I feel like it doesn't. When you really think about it,
yeah,
I'm kind of confused
because
about it.
you could get into that argument of like, I mean, the older generation went through even harder shit. I don't know if you saw Joe Rogan posted something recently about it, about a guy. Oh, you sent it to me. A guy born in 1900, exactly 1900. Like if he lived to be like 100 years old, he went through the First World War, Second World War, like the Cold War, all the assassinations in Vietnam, and that's like just in his life, and it just gives you like perspective about how hard like things used to be. I remember even my dad talks about how he grew up like in a small village like in Mexico. He tells me about how he had to run like all the way to high school. Do you remember? He had to every day he had to wake up
just to make it there
and run
Yeah.
to the city, to the nearest city. He said it was like 5 miles, and he said he was so like he had gotten like so conditioned on it that by the end of it he would just go all the way through. But what sucked was that after school ended, like sometimes obviously they'd hang out in the city or whatever, so they'd have to do the walk back in the middle of the night, and his like village didn't get lights until the 80s.
Yeah.
So he talked about how it was like pitch black like on the way home, and he would always come with his brother, and then one time they got like lost, and then like his brother was walking in front of him, and then out of nowhere like he just fell into this ditch. And he's like, oh, like, what the fuck? What is this? He fell into a grave, bro. They were in like a graveyard. Yeah. And And then
Was
he
there
was
like a coffin in there?
there, I don't know. He said it was just like an open open
It was
slot.
a
I guess
pot?
they're probably gonna have like a funeral the next day or
Oh.
something. They probably the coffin wasn't in there yet, but that he fell in, yeah, and that
Yikes.
like his brother started like freaking the fuck out, and he's like, "Oh my,
Wow.
well, yeah,
Pretty valid. Yeah, my dad was telling me. My dad and my mom were talking about it the other day. They were talking about how, well, when my dad was in middle school, they were allowed to hit you, the teachers.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and he went to his mom made him go to like a religious school, so and he
Mhm.
said the nuns
They went
hated
in.
them. They would hit you twice as hard.
Mhm.
And what it was is they would either like I think smack you, but for him he hated when they would make you put your hands out and they take a ruler and they'd smack the shit out of your
Uh-huh.
hands a lot.
Mm.
That's like really fucked up.
Yeah.
Like if I had heard like my kid's teacher was hitting them, I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me?
It'd go viral, bro.
Like, you know, that's straight up abuse. Like,
Yeah.
you're hitting a
Aren't they
kid.
like trying to do that? Bring it
No,
back?
yeah, they're trying to bring that back. which
Are you
is weird.
serious?
They're trying-
Really?
Yeah, they're trying to bring that back. into
What's the
schools.
value in bringing it back?
I guess
Discipline.
discipline. Yeah.
Oof.
Damn.
But going back to the point, that's what I'm trying to be like. Well, I
Yeah,
feel like,
it's not like the older generation had it any easier.
no, yeah, and I'm not saying that like, oh, we're so like we have it so easy. The older generation, like I'm not trying to.
The older generation wouldn't understand our pain of the internet.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to be that guy either. Of where like, oh, like we have it so much easier. The older things were so much harder back then. Like I feel like everybody's battles are valid or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying I don't know that it's that much more worse.
I get you.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear what a psychologist
Yeah,
says.
because at least for nowadays, you could teach the TikTok algorithm to just give you like funny videos and like
Yeah.
ASMR videos and shit,
Yeah.
like that calm you
Yeah.
down.
No, but I mean, I get what you're getting at. I remember as a kid, I saw like some beheadings and that like fucked me up because I was like, oh my god, like, you know.
It's 'cause I was just so curious, man. I don't know about you guys. I don't know why you guys watch Score, but like the only reason I ever saw it was because I was just curious.
Weird.
I was just
I
like,
only ever got it by accident.
wait, what? You're calling me
You're
weird?
weird.
Why did you watch it then?
It was pop up. I didn't have any.
Yeah,
like,
I get
choice.
it. I get it in like recommendeds, and I'd be like, "Oh, what's this?" And then it'd be like brutal beheading.
Master
Nah,
Chief face
Or-
reveal or some shit.
Yeah,
like that.
I was
yeah,
pretty like
it'd
I don't know
be-
why. I was just
Or I
curious
think,
about it.
or I think as a kid, I think it was like a movie scene. Like I'd be like, "Oh, like this is probably sick," you know. And then it's like for real. I'm like, oh my, you know.
Jesus.
And just
Uh,
like looking at the stream.
No,
like,
yeah, I'm sure that fucks you up though, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I told you guys about it. I don't know if I ever told you, Patrick, but me and my older brother even had kind of like I don't know if I'd call it an obsession, but a fascination with it. We followed this Reddit group.
R,
No,
I think I
r
think I
slash
remember.
Yeah.
watch, r slash watch people die.
yeah, r/watch people die, and then another one. It was basically just like videos of people dying in very like precarious ways. And at the time, like I didn't think it was weird. I was just more like, whoa, like it's crazy how fragile life is. I don't know. Maybe I was weird. Maybe I really was weird.
I've seen those TikToks and tweets where they're like, I've never seen somebody who watched a lot of gore that didn't feel the need to tell everybody about it.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't even the worst one. I had friends who fucking watched way
No,
more than me.
I know. In school, I remember that there was the Run the Gauntlet where it's like,
I never did that shit. Fuck that.
no, I never wanted to do that because
You know what that is, Julie?
No.
Run
I've done the
Gauntlet?
50-50 one.
Which one's that one?
It's where it tells you two scenarios. It can be like a cute kitten being like
Pet.
tossed into like a dumpster, or it can be like some funny dude like tripping. And you have to,
Oh, really?
You have to click it, and it can give you either one of those videos.
Oh, so it's either something good or something bad. What's Run the Gauntlet?
Run the Gauntlet, if I remember correctly, was that it's like a bunch of them, and each one gets worse, and you have to run the gauntlet and see how far you can get.
Should we do it live on the show right now?
Fuck
We won't
no.
show it.
I
We won't show it.
remember-
but-
I think
remember-
it's bad, no?
I don't know, but I remember our friend. He was telling me about how like one of them was like so fucked up, and he was describing it to me where there's this guy, he falls, like he's jumping off a cliff to like get into water, but he doesn't make it. So he hits rock and like his fucking skull opens up and they're like, oh my god! And I was like, damn.
Censor warning. Holy shit.
Well, I mean, I didn't watch it, but
Yeah.
just hearing that, I was like, damn, bro, you like this funny you like
Good.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I never really had a
Bro,
fascination.
Yeah,
about it.
wild.
Do you remember,
for watching these
bro? We had a.
things.
I don't know if you because you might have. Did you take AP history in high school?
Yes. Oh yeah. I
A
know.
push?
Bro, you
A
did
push?
take it.
Not
You did
A
take
push,
it?
but regular US.
Oh, bro, you know, in high school, me and Patrick had a teacher that on the first day of class, she showed us a gore video to the whole class.
Oh, what the fuck? What was
Yeah,
it?
she showed us a video of a little kid being run over in
Yeah.
China. Yeah,
And
and
I-
she her reason. I remember, bro. The kids at least in my class, because we were in the same class.
I was like, what the fuck?
Bro, but I remember a kid in my class got so mad. He was like, "Why are you showing us that? Like, what's the purpose there?" And she was like, "It's to show you that like how cruel like other worlds can be, and how when people get really stuck and like working, how they can be so careless about other human life." Because the
think I
video
know.
is basically like warning for anybody who doesn't want to hear,
Yeah.
but it's basically this little like kid, probably like 3 or 4 years old, this Chinese kid. He gets run over, and then like a bunch of people just walk by, like nobody picks him up or anything. People just keep walking over him or like walking past
I
him.
feel like she didn't have to show that. That's
Bro,
fine.
but it wasn't like, it's not censored or anything. It's full on.
She
Yeah.
also showed us like pictures of Guantanamo Bay, like how
Jesus
people got
Christ.
tortured and stuff.
Yeah. I guess
I
she was
think I
trying to
know-
do
I
like
think I know
exposure
who- I think I know who
therapy.
you're talking about because I remember my teachers would always talk about her and how she was. She was. Well, I guess extreme is the word.
Yeah,
they-
she was a very
she
extreme
did
teacher.
wake
that
me
it
up.
was, she didn't have a phone, right? Because
No.
she
Oh yeah, she didn't
because
have
she
a phone.
didn't
Yeah,
believe in the way that the lithium ion was
yeah,
forged, right?
it has something to do
So
with that. Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
She also she only wore one pair of shoes. So there was like she got on the news once. I guess because her man is like works in like politics, but she was on the
Oh.
news and they were interviewing her because she was at like this formal and she was dressed all fancy except her shoes. She had like her beat down shoes that she always wears.
Mm.
Like, oh, like why are you wearing your shoes? And it's like, well, I want to dance and like heels are like uncomfortable and like these are pretty good shoes. I don't like getting new ones. So she got like she went on the news because she made such a fashion statement about her shoes at like a politic like
Should have
ball.
her on the podcast.
Yeah, she was an extremist though. I remember. Yeah, she didn't have a phone, so sometimes it'd be funny. So like she like her car broke down because it was also a really old car. Because you
Yeah.
keep saying.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So a lot of times her car would break down and she just wouldn't show up to teach, and
Yeah.
the teacher would be like, "Well, I mean, we can't communicate with her. Like she's just late."
Yeah.
Yeah, but she would always show up and be like, "Yeah, my car just broke down,
Yeah.
so I had to wait."
I guess the one gore video that I guess I don't know if I really ever considered it gore. That kind of fascinated me was the JFK one, where where it's you see his head get blown off.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the only reason I could stomach it is because it's so shitty.
Yeah.
Like it's, it's. I mean, it's not that shitty. Like you can see, like
They restored it.
They
Isn't that
restored-
crazy?
yeah.
Imagine getting your head blown off and the government restores it
yeah.
so they can see more
I'm sure. I'm sure. Like they'll use AI to restore it even more soon.
and get that 4K angle.
Yeah.
Damn.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That because I remember we watched that in history class, but the teacher was like, "If you don't want to watch this, you can step out."
No,
And
I
was like,
remember we would watch it, but I can never see it actually happening. Like we would watch the video.
Because it's so blurry.
Yeah. But I remember I was like, I don't see shit. Like
if you see the like restored one, I always go, "Ooh."
Yeah, because
Like-
they stabilize it too, so that way
Yeah.
it's not shaky. So
Yeah.
it's like
And
pretty
you can see
accurate.
like the wow. Yeah.
Come on,
well, yeah.
I know what you're talking about though. I
Yeah,
know what you're talking about.
it's yeah.
You can see
when
everything.
the
You can see
it
You
everything.
could
goes
just see
out.
his head get blown off.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, but adding to that, my dad was in high school when that happened.
Oh, really?
So I'm sure, like hearing, damn, the president got his head blown off. Oof. You know, like I'm sure.
That'd be scary,
And it's the
man.
president.
No, yeah,
That'd be
because
And it's the
scary.
president,
No,
imagine.
because at the time this was before
Vietnam. No, wait, no, Vietnam
this
was
before
happening.
Nixon.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everybody still had a lot of respect for the president.
Yeah.
Generally. So that's like a big deal. I mean, even now, even if you don't like Joe Biden, if I heard somebody blew his head off, I'd be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Pretty big.
Whoa, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, in 2023, especially, like, how'd they
Yeah.
get past that?
You know?
Conspiracies would pop up
Yeah.
immediately.
No, yeah. So like, I'm sure hearing all that, all this, they killed Malcolm X, they killed
Mhm.
fucking
MLK.
MLK.
Mhm.
Everybody got assassinated back in the day. You know,
You told me that supposedly John Lennon, they also say
Oh,
was
they-
killed by the
they
government,
say
right?
he was.
Why
Well,
though?
remember
Because he promoted like peace and like anti-religion and like
communism, right?
yeah, and it was still a time when the government was very conservative and
Anti-communism,
very
yeah.
part of the church.
Yeah. And we watched a video about it where they say it's true that the CIA was monitoring him. No, they would
Yeah,
do
they
that
were
with-
monitoring it.
so like that's where the conspiracy comes.
Well, people say that the era of the 50s and 60s. This is why you're right that like maybe the old generation like they saw some fucked up shit too. Because people in the 50s and the 60s is when people say the U.S. government was like in an all-time like paranoia state.
Yeah.
If there's files of them doing like MK Ultra, experiments on people trying to see if they can mind control them. There's files about that they try to learn about the astral world, like spiritual world shit,
Yeah.
like trying to no stone left unturned, right?
Well, that, and there's also like the fucking nuclear scare. There's all those ads of duck and cover,
Oh,
and
yeah.
like if there's ever a nuclear war, just duck and like you don't think that
It's because they
scares
didn't
you a
even
little
know
bit?
like what the fuck
No,
radiation
but,
did.
like, hearing all the time
Yeah.
that like
Well, yeah,
like,
weren't they also testing for radiation on people?
Yeah.
I remember in a history class that I forgot where, but like they would test them so often that in some cities you could see the glow of the bombs going off.
Mhm.
Again, I feel like living at that time, I'd be pretty scared. I'd be like, oh my god, are they gonna nuke us? You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, luckily, we haven't seen anything to that degree. I guess
We've just
in
lived through
modern.
the
No, but I mean,
pandemic.
even now, like when you hear on the news, like the news is like super fear mongering. So when you hear that
True.
Putin's threatening to use, people get scared. I mean,
True.
people
Or
get scared.
murders happening.
Have you
Yeah.
seen Andrew Callahan's new movie? What
I
was it called? This
haven't.
Place Rules.
I
Yeah.
haven't, but I've seen the clip where he tells CNN that he thinks they.
Yeah,
fear
so
monger.
like the whole purpose of the documentary is to basically say that the news is like because it's a TV show, it needs like ratings, so they're constantly showing stories that like put people in fear and give like the most like animalistic like reaction, and that he was basically like he wasn't full on saying, but he was kind of alluding to the fact that the news is some of the reason why like the insurrection happened in January 6th, because they basically like brainwashed these people into thinking there was this invisible enemy that never existed.
Yeah.
That you see, like that's a modern age like
No, but you see, like that kind of stuff happen all the time with like communism back in the day.
like
and,
propaganda.
So like that's
Mhm.
why I don't know. It's a difficult like. It's a tough sell for me sometimes when people are like that. I don't
The
know.
internet's made us all fucked up.
No, but I think the internet does fuck with you. I just don't know that it's like the root, the 100%.
Or maybe it's so deep embedded in you, bro. You don't even
I'm
know.
hypnotized.
Yeah, right now you're literally
He's
spewing
brainwashed
all
right
bunch
now?
of propaganda.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. Because, dude, imagine like walking, like when they killed John Lennon. Imagine if you heard somebody shot Bad Bunny. Because John Lennon and the
Bad
Beatles,
Bunny?
that's how big
Yeah,
John
yeah,
Lennon and
yeah.
the Beatles
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
imagine if at a signing someone offed Bad Bunny. God forbid, by the way.
Yeah.
But like that's got to be a gnarly time to live in when like
Yeah.
political
True, true.
figures, like
And then they
Yeah.
sent a
civil
man
ri-
to the moon.
activists, celebrities are getting popped. In
Did
the
he
head,
actually go to the moon though?
Julie, come on. don't even start. I might have to cut that out. We went to the moon. Yes, we did. I'm a
Yeah.
firm believer. We went to the moon.
It was cheaper to go to the moon than it was to fake the moon landing at the time. So we went to the
Okay.
moon.
You know, all the technology that was on the first spaceship when we went to the moon, there's more advanced technology in your phone, in your iPhone. That means they were steering like in space with less technology than you're literally wearing.
So why can't we go to
I
the
would have
moon
been
now?
terrified if I was
It's
in
just
that.
nobody gives a fuck.
It's expensive.
And
It's
nobody gives a fuck.
dangerous. And there's really nothing that we can gain from sending humans that we can't gain from sending robots.
Nobody gives a fuck. Basically.
Yeah.
Well, because there's a big drive. It was the Russia. We were in competition with Russia, and we hated
Yeah.
communists. And God forbid we're gonna let some communists get to the moon
beat
before
us.
we did.
You know, this is a fact. You know, when JFK in his famous announcement where he's like, "We're gonna go to the moon, not because we want to, but because we can." You know, you know what he.
I don't think that's what he said. But
Yeah, he said something along those lines. But anyways, you know when he made the announcement of that the U.S. is going to the moon, he hadn't even told NASA yet.
oh really?
Yeah.
Imagine being
So
NASA, I'm like, wait, what?
when everybody else found out, so did NASA.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
a lot of people would say like, bro,
They're like,
the space
"Fuck."
race was unprecedented.
What?
What?
I
There's no
also,
fucking
I also think it's interesting because like Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about it because obviously that's his job. That's what he's like fascinated with.
Yeah.
He talks about how like he feels like at the time in America everything was like about the future. Like you see it when you see like retrofuturism and stuff like that, and how it's kind of trendy now. By the time everything was about like, oh, the city of tomorrow, the man of tomorrow, this of tomorrow. So like at the time, the culture, everybody was kind of obsessed with like science and like progression. And he kind of says he wishes that was back. But kind of interesting. That's
Yeah,
kind of
it
a
is
cool time.
cool,
to,
yeah.
like,
So we just gave up. It was probably after all the assassinations in Vietnam War.
like
Kind of got
It was
everybody.
the internet.
Yeah.
It was the internet.
I mean, technically, in people say the '90s leading to thousands, it kind of came back. But people were like, everything became futuristic.
No, I remember the
Oh,
people.
yeah.
People talk about the '90s because they always bring up when they cloned the sheep. Because that
Oh,
was the first
what's
Dolly
her
the
name?
sheep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We're going back to Mars apparently, right?
Yeah. We're supposed to be there by 2050, bro. Supposed to be the first human people who are gonna live there.
Yeah,
They're not coming back. Yeah, they're not coming back, bro.
How old would we be?
Us, let's see, it's 2023,
I'll be
so
probably
that's
49,
27.
50s?
Well, we'll probably see it. We'll see it for sure. We'll probably be around.
Hopefully.
Did you guys
hopefully.
go?
Fuck no.
If I could come back, I would go.
You're not coming back.
How long does it take? Like how long?
8 years?
I think it takes a couple years, yeah. And
8
no
years?
cryo. We don't have cryo sleep
Yeah.
either.
Oh, we
so
haven't figured that one out yet.
Well,
yeah,
we'll
so you're gonna be up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't have what?
then
we don't have cryo. You know what cryo sleep is?
Yeah.
I still haven't seen
It's
it.
just this
sorry.
concept
Yeah,
in
I've
like
seen it.
sci-fi
I
that's
watch
like
it.
cryo sleep is just like this concept in sci-fi that like you go to sleep in this chamber and
It's
it freezes
suspend-
you basically.
It's suspended animation.
Yeah.
Like, you basically fall asleep and wake up, and
Yeah.
you don't age.
It's
you
almost like a blink.
Or like what's it called?
Interstellar.
Like Interstellar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to work on it right now.
Yeah,
People, so-
but we don't have it. So when those guys go to Mars, they're gonna be awake the whole time, 8 hours.
They're just
and
gonna be up.
It's do you guys remember when they posted the like oh, you want to go to Mars, like submit like your application right here.
Yeah.
Bro, like so many people were like couldn't do it because they just physically weren't fit to.
Weren't they targeting people that were like not mentally stable? Kind of like they kind of
You really people say that you need kind of like a what's the word? What's like the word for psychos but less like harsh?
Sociopath.
You need like sociopaths because you need people who aren't like afraid of small space and also not doing anything for a long time. So what's weird is
So
that
they
the
gotta
first
be a
like
little crazy.
yeah, the
I think
first
it'd be
colony
chill
of
for that,
humans
chill.
is gonna be people who are mentally like wired differently because they need to be able to survive.
You need to be that guy. Then.
Yeah, you need to be that guy. You need to be able to like have like no emotion, like Ryan Gosling, like in Blade Runner.
What'd you do if like they announced the lineup? And you see me on there.
Bro, I'd be proud of you, and I'd also be like,
You're
"Are
never
you?
coming back? What's wrong with
I'm
you?
not coming back, bro. I'm full sending
Wait,
you.
what's wrong with you? What do you
What's
mean?
wrong
He's
with
like
you?
fucking pushing humanity forward, human history. Come on now.
Cares?
I was like,
What do you
well,
mean?
I hope you have fun in Mars.
I'll be like, okay, I have one
I guess-
passenger trip ticket. Like I can bring someone else
I'm
from
good.
this group.
I'm good.
I'm
You guys
down.
can go.
You good?
Fuck
You
it.
good?
I'm down. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I
down.
can go.
Well, it
Come
was
on,
nice
bro.
knowing you.
Why?
Why not?
That's
Like,
like-
we'll fix this planet first, then we can go.
You wouldn't want to experience something new?
I want to
Literally something new?
I want to fix this planet before we go to.
But think
another
about your
planet.
legacy, man.
Fuck
Nobody.
my legacy.
you
I
always
don't-
be
I
the
don't-
My
first one.
legacy is from Earth.
I think it's. I genuinely think it's weird that people want to go to another planet and this one's fucked up. Like, I think
No, I
that's.
understand the
I think
stigma.
that's. I think that's weird. I think like. I think it's. I honestly kind of think it's a little morally wrong. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Valid.
Because it's like, come on,
Valid.
bro. There's people here who we could technically fix homelessness. Not even technically,
Mhm.
we could. We could fix all the problems here, and we just don't. And we're like, oh, but we gotta spread to like Mars. It's like, come on,
Especially
bro.
when you look at the money, the amount of money we're putting into trying to go to Mars. That could be money for like environmentalism.
It's kind of
or-
like being in a toxic relationship and being like, I'm just getting another one. You know, it's like, come on, bro. Like,
Wait a minute. I don't know if I agree with that analogy.
I understand what you mean.
What? Okay, explain to me. Explain to me.
It's like
You can't leave your toxic ex.
It's like being in a toxic relationship and immediately getting into another relationship
get it.
right after.
And you're not fully like.
And you're not
Oh, yeah,
fully
not
healed.
healed?
You haven't addressed any of the
Okay.
problems of
You
what
haven't
you
gone
haven't
to
addressed.
So I'm
therapy.
gonna fuck up this other one.
I'm gonna fuck up this other person.
I've never done this. I've seen
Okay,
the
I fuck
memes.
with that. Now I
No?
get it. Now I get it. I fuck with
Yeah.
that. That's real. That's pretty fucking real.
Like, yeah, that's why I don't know. Because whenever people talk about going to Mars, they're like, "Oh, we need to get there in case something goes wrong here."
How do you know? What do you know? How do you
But-
know that?
Well, because to me, I'm like, "Damn, so y'all are expecting this to crash and burn? Come on,
Have some more faith in us.
I think
Yeah.
a lot of people already gave up.
right?" That's why,
Yeah.
like, come on. I don't know. I feel like people are talking about, "Oh, we're gonna turn Mars into Earth. We'll turn Earth back into Earth." That's what all the scientists say.
Ooh, bars. I fuck with that. Turn
Come on,
Earth
bro.
back
Is
into
that your
Earth.
presidential cult?
Yeah.
You gonna run for president, bro?
Well, I mean,
Oh,
if
I
there's
don't want to get assassinated. Because
Damn.
I'd fix shit.
Damn.
I'd fix
Oh,
shit.
because you'd actually
I
do
do
shit?
Cut the
shit.
cameras. Cut the
Cut
cameras.
the cameras, dead ass.
I'd
Cut the
fix
cameras.
shit, and they'd whack me. So now I'm good.
Damn.
Damn.
That's what JFK was trying to do.
Then they whacked him.
He's trying to get rid of the
Mm.
Got
CIA.
his ass, bro.
They got his ass.
I was born on the day JFK got assassinated, November 22nd. So I feel like if
He's the reincarnation
So
of
I feel like-
JFK.
so I feel like if I did,
Where
if-
was this info?
So I feel like if I,
Ain't no way.
I feel like
Wait,
if I did become
I'm just
president,
finding
I'd
this
be
out.
scared because I'd be like, nah, like it's one of those like, cause like you know how they have those similarities with Lincoln and have you seen that? Where JFK and Abraham Lincoln have like all these weird similarities. It's called the Lincoln Kennedy coincidences. There's a lot, so let me read them. Okay, so number 1. Both Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy were first elected to Congress in 46 and became president in 60. So,
Okay.
John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln in the theater and ran it to a warehouse. Lee Harvey Oswald shot Kennedy from a warehouse and ran to a theater. When Kennedy was shot, the car he was riding in was a Lincoln. Lincoln's last name was Lincoln. Kennedy slept with Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was in Some Like It Hot with Jack Lemmon. Jack Lemmon was in JFK, which tells the life story of John F. Kennedy, who was assassinated just like Lincoln.
The
last
first
one-
ones?
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, the last one was Loki a reach.
Yeah, it was-
John,
He had to really reach for that
John
one.
Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln in his theater booth. Lee Harvey Oswald shot Kennedy in a motorcade. I don't know what that was getting at. Oh, Abraham Lincoln has 14 letters. John Fitzgerald Kennedy has 21 letters. Assassinate has 11 letters. Both men except Kennedy were born in log houses. Lincoln's wife maiden name was Todd, which, ignoring one of the D's, reads backwards is Dot. That seems too much of a reach.
yeah, it's reaching.
Both Lincoln and Kennedy were succeeded by their vice presidents. Lincoln's nickname was Honest Abe after chopping down his father's cherry tree. Kennedy once said, "I cannot tell a lie." Lincoln and Kennedy both died of Lou Gehrig's disease, not from being shot, as is commonly believed. Oh, what the fuck? This is a conspiracy one.
Well, since we're on the
Dead.
subject,
I'm
are there any
dead.
conspiracies you guys believe? Because we're talking about the moon landing in JFK.
No, I remember we were watching those YouTube videos, and the one that I think there's the government's putting. No, I'm not gonna say it.
What?
Like,
He's like, come
I'm not gonna say it.
The government's putting what?
No,
Which
you know
one?
how they would put
He's
Nah, you
moving
gotta- come
away.
on.
Oh, they would put stuff into alcohol, like in the prohibition era.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I feel like they might be doing it this
With weed?
like fentanyl.
But okay.
I think that's-
When you said it, I was like, yo, maybe. But I was also high. Now that
I
I'm
think-
sober, I feel
think-
like I don't agree. Just because the reason why they did it with prohibition was because it was already illegal and
It's
they didn't like
federally-
people.
It's federally illegal still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
they
it's
don't
legal
want it to be.
here. In
But it's
LA.
federally illegal.
Federally.
So you're saying the fentanyl? Because people do die of fentanyl in
Yeah.
weed.
They-
So you're saying the government puts fentanyl in
There's
weed?
been cases of officers trying to put fentanyl in weed. Like they've caught like.
But that's so
officers.
fucked up, man. I don't understand. Like, I maybe it's right. Maybe you're right.
That's
but
that's exactly why the government would do it.
the government would never do that.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm completely sold that the government's doing it, but I do think that like we're gonna get into like a big weed type thing, like with a big tobacco where there's shit in it that they're not telling us about. That's like really harmful. I think that's what.
Do we give the history lesson about tobacco?
That's crazy.
Yeah, go
about
ahead, bro.
tobacco.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So like for those of you listening, we took a deep dive into just tobacco companies. And back in the day, they got into a lot of hot water because big tobacco companies knew that not only were cigarettes addictive, but they also had chemicals that cause cancer. And what was more controversial was that they were able to actually get rid of the chemicals that gave cancer, but it would make it less addicted, which would hurt their profits. So for years, they knew that they were harming their users, but they didn't care because as long as they got addicted and kept buying cigarettes, then big tobacco companies would stay rich and powerful.
What was it that it had? Do you remember?
I don't remember
they
the
had
exact
something that
chemical.
was radioactive, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
That like made it smoother to inhale too.
Like a
Mhm.
metal, no?
It was something
Yeah.
like that, and they were like, "Nah, like leave that in there."
Yeah, man.
So I think
you
that
think weed? You think weed has something like that?
I don't know
Not
right
right
now,
now.
but I think eventually. I think one of them's gonna blow up, or like one of the like cartridge, one of those cartridge companies. I don't know about that.
I hope
Yeah,
not.
I hope not, but I don't know. About that. But like
What was that one that happened that it was actually false? No, the THC
Oh,
levels.
fucking.
Jeter.
Oh, they got our
They
ass,
got
bro.
our
That's the one we always get. So, like, for those of you listening, there's this company called Jeters, and they have these special joints called Baby Jeters. And
Are
they
we allowed to
they
say
recently got sued because their THC levels, which have always been ridiculously high, about 40%. 40% is usually 40 to 50% is usually the highest that they can get. and they got sued because apparently those THC levels aren't true. That they just kind of put it because there's no regulation. That's what shout out to Set Connects, but an insider who works in the industry. He tells us there's like a lot of non-regulation, because it's not federally legal.
You see, that's why
so you can basically do whatever you want.
I'm like, it's just waiting to happen. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's gonna be a case where they're like, you're not even smoking THC, like it's some other chemical that like is cheaper.
It's similar, cheaper.
It's similar, more cheap, and
Can kill
it
you.
lasts longer, and it's probably horrible for you. And it's like, well, I mean, nobody said smoking was good for you, you know? Like, you know, I think it's like that.
That's how they get around it. Well, I mean, it's smoking, bro. What did you think?
That or like,
You're not supposed
that
to.
or like, I'm sure it's gonna come out eventually that having a certain THC amounts like probably horrible for your brain. So I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Especially how
didn't you
consistently
say
people
that a lot of
smoke.
people are also getting psychosis from weed?
Or
no?
There's like how many cases a day now?
It was at the time it was saying that it was like 15 or something. Something with a
cases
5.
a day in the hospital of people getting psychosis from weed,
Yeah.
and that the doctors are like, they're not really even smoking.
Hey,
weed
bro,
yet.
maybe they just can't hang.
They're not really smoking weed.
They just don't got it like that.
Yeah.
Well, they're just saying that like weed basically isn't even weed anymore. That it's like it's
almost like a
else.
new drug.
Yeah.
Um,
But I don't know.
That's like, you know what's funny? People always talk about how like they talk about Jimi Hendrix and like John Lennon and all these like old famous celebrities that used to smoke weed
They
and
smoke
how they're
ass
like
grass.
they wouldn't be able to take a stizzy hit though.
Yeah.
They'd be faded out of their mind because their THC levels are probably high. But I don't know. And then I see people like, come on, bro, put some respect in their name. Jimi Hendrix is smoking like every day, all day.
Mm-hmm. Wait, so the thing that you were talking about, you were talking about JFK, that wasn't real? The
There's
similarities?
probably a better one, but it's something like that. It's something like that where like don't quote me because I know it's wrong, but just to exemplify it, where it's like JFK was riding in a Lincoln and JFK, I mean, and Lincoln was in JFK Theater or something like that,
Mhm.
or they both have the same number of letters and this and that. You know, it's one of those things where people find it kind of odd or whatever. There's a better one I've seen, but
Mhm.
that's just the one where it's like, oh, they're actually both lizards, you know?
Lizard.
Do you think the government still experiments on people? Because
Yeah.
this is a conspiracy
Fucking for
theory.
sure.
Probably like war prisoners.
Wasn't it
Yeah.
recently that some guy sued the government because he saw his dead mom that they were experimenting her with nukes?
What?
I don't know about that
You don't
one.
remember that?
I've never heard of
It was.
that.
I'm not. It
Was
wasn't.
it a nuke?
It wasn't recently. Like no. It wasn't recently. Like last year, but it was like some guy saw his mom in like a testing or something like that. And
Oh,
her
it's
dead
giving me
body.
chills, man.
They stole her dead body and they like blew her up because the government wanted to see what would happen. So the
Damn.
government does that they would steal bodies and like test on them to see how the weapons would react. to treat the
I remember
bodies.
this is like common knowledge. You know how the UFOs have been like coming around. Like I'm talking about the official UFOs, not like people on TikTok who put like they saw a
What is
UFO and shit. Yeah,
I mean,
what is that?
you mean UAPs, bro?
Yeah, you know the official footage that the government released, the one with the UAPs that
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the Air Force caught, right? I saw people in the Air Force saying that they think that the government is experimenting on them, that those ships are like the U.S. like trying to see if the human mind can handle like that type of like technology. Yeah, I saw a lot of people in the Air Force saying that they bring it up that they're like we're being used as guinea pigs, but I mean it hasn't blown up yet from what I've seen.
You know how when they released those videos, I
Yeah.
feel like I remember I had already seen them before, like on the internet.
No, they were out there. It's just the government didn't claim them.
Yeah.
They weren't like these.
They
are-
had been leaked, yeah, but the government officially said no, yeah, those are ours.
Oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I haven't read into it, so I don't know like the details or if the guy's a fraud or whatever. But it's man says I feel foolish after learning mother's body was sold to U.S. Army, strapped to chair and blown up.
What the fuck?
So yeah, I don't.
When was this?
No, yeah, his mom was donated for medical use, but they sold it to the military and they use it for blast testing. So I'm sure the government does experiment on people.
That's fucked.
That is kind of
That
fucked.
is
No,
fucked.
you give your mother's body and like, oh, it's for
It's like
science,
science.
like to help people,
and
they're
they
like,
blow it up?
they're like, yeah, let's blow this shit up.
I'd be pissed, yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to laugh, but at the same time, nah, I'd be pissed. I'd be like,
But-
Mama.
I wonder how he found out.
I don't know.
I know,
should
right?
Probably read it, right?
probably sus. You know what also sus? Do you remember like last year, maybe it's been 2 years now, here in LA, some guy at a park randomly got like sniped?
Yeah,
you remember?
I remember that.
He was hiking, no?
Yeah.
And he wasn't from
In-
state.
in Los
And he
Angeles?
was literally
He was
in a-
hiking in Griffith.
No, not Griffin.
No.
No, Peanut, like, you know
Okay.
Peanut Lake? What's it
Oh,
called?
yeah.
Yeah.
He
He
got
got
like
s-
a distance.
Did somebody like snipe him?
Some guy sniped him.
40
Yeah.
feet, 40 feet.
They never found him.
They did.
They did, right?
Yeah.
But it
What was
was
the,
really
like-
suspicious because it was just kind of like whatever. Like I guess it was just a random act of passion. But the guy had like a super advanced like sniper rifle.
Oh, he had like a military.
Yeah, so
grade,
people were just saying we'll probably never find out the story, but there was probably
like
some
that guy was working on free energy or some shit like that.
or either way, it
The
was
cure to
something
cancer?
suspicious,
He was a
something
photographer, no, the
something
guy?
deep. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, it was
So
something
he
deep,
got
bro.
a picture of some like
Maybe,
someone
maybe.
important.
Mm-hmm. It was something deep, man. That's what's
I
scary
forgot
too.
about that.
'Cause people, I mean, LA people get shot like
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Snipe, that's different.
Yeah, it's different from sniper, cause yeah, exactly, bro. As some for us who've grown around here, like yeah, there's gun violence and yeah, people die from being shot, but a sniper like is totally different. Especially to just snipe one guy
Yeah.
is like that's
weird.
pre-planned, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember I got the citizen notification too. And
Me
I was
too.
Like, what the fuck? Snipe?
Have you gotten Citizen yet?
Yeah, I have Citizen.
Yeah,
I
okay,
remember
cool.
like a week after I got it, there was like a fucking hostage situation like up the street from my house.
and you were like, wow.
Well, I
it's a
saw-
good thing I knew.
Well,
Good thing
no,
I know.
I saw like all the police,
The
but it
police?
was just kind of weird because like nothing really ever happens in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of funny. Like the one time the second I got Citizen,
It's like crazy ass.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
I mean, that's what they say. They say in places where nothing ever happens, when something does happen, it's
It
gonna be
happens?
something big.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a weird rule of the universe, you know.
yeah.
I like Citizen, but I know one of the things that bothers me is that like sometimes crimes happen like nearby, and I'm like, I gotta get out.
And you're like,
I remember
Yeah.
I got one and it said like burglary break in 100 feet away from you, and it was next to me, the house next to me. And I got my bat and I was like, oh fuck.
Dude, yeah, I've gotten those too. Yeah, I'm like burglary like down the
you
street.
said someone got stabbed, no? Like up the street?
Yeah, somebody across the street. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
This is the first time I probably told my sister
Hope
about
he's
it.
okay.
I haven't told anybody about it. Yeah.
That's why I always say lock the doors, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
somebody got stabbed
I'm
literally.
always worried
For
about
the viewers, like right
no,
there.
I mean,
You can
yeah.
probably see it on the camera.
You need a
like,
bigger
right there.
dog now. Like a
You know,
bigger
you know, I
dog.
heard that's actually not true. That smaller dogs that bark are better than big dogs, because it's better because they make noise and that's what actually keeps people away. But it's rare that big dogs are actually as aggressive as people imagine them to be.
Really? So it's better to get like a small dog as a guard dog?
I feel like a bunch of
well,
small dogs.
they were talking
Like an army of
What they
chihuahuas?
were talking about, it's not really that they're guard dogs. They're more like alarm dogs, where it's like
Oh,
an
that's
alarm
cool.
where they just kind of like yap.
Well, I
and,
mean,
like,
princesses would do that all the
Yeah.
time.
but they were talking about how like you haven't seen that on the news where they go in a bunch of people's houses where people have dogs and most of the dogs are afraid of the fake burglars. And
Really?
they were talking about how like it's because most dogs aren't like how people see them in the movies. Some are, but it's like because people don't like aggressive dogs. It's not really
It's probably also been bred out.
yeah, so it's kind of bred out a little bit. Like actual guard dogs are like kind of undesirable because like they attack people.
Yeah.
You know? So like
Yeah.
so
That makes sense.
I think the dogs you have are doing just fine. 'Cause they
Oh,
make
okay,
noise,
cool.
You know,
Smaller dogs better than big dogs.
supposedly I don't know.
I feel like big dogs for protection if you're like going for a walk. Or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, that's true too.
Or,
yeah.
or like it's more like like an intimidation thing where it's like yeah maybe he won't bite me but I don't want to take that risk. You know.
Mhm.
I think it's cool when women have like bigger dogs and they
Yeah.
go walking at night, and I'm like,
Yeah.
shit, that's a smart
She
plan.
doing it.
Yeah, because I wouldn't test it. Like oh he's not
Nah,
gonna
the
bite
big
me.
dog with the chick. No,
But that makes me want to go into Julie. What do you think about that movement? I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like hashtag like girls with guns. Have you seen it? And it's that
It's in.
it's
where,
like
like,
that like the laws should be easier for women to own guns than dudes because you'll never mess with a woman if like it's become like common knowledge
No.
that most women have guns.
Mm.
So like most dudes will probably never go near or I guess the assaulters will be afraid because they'll be like,
Yeah.
nah, she's a girl, she probably
She's
has a gun.
strapped. She probably
Yeah,
strapped.
she's probably strapped.
Wow.
My bad.
Wow.
I feel like you can
What do
go
you think?
either way with that.
Yeah, but what do you think?
Wait, what'd you say?
I feel like you can go either way with that.
Yeah,
Because
because
there's more than just that.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like I mean, no, I want women to feel safe.
Yeah, I
like
do.
that's what I
Yeah.
agree with that. Like I want women to go out and not have to worry about like a dude like you
Fucking
know.
with you. But
Yeah.
it doesn't sound fully.
Yeah, it
thought
sounds
out.
there's something
They just want a gun, bro. They just want a gun too.
it sounds a little weird where they're like, yeah, but just give everybody guns. It sounds like that teacher thing where like let's give all
It's-
teachers guns and then there's no you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It sounds kind of
There-
like that.
I get in the thing of like there could be like women who are just like
Yeah.
Nah, I'm gonna just shoot every guy that I see.
Yeah, I feel like
True. There are men haters out there.
There-
There
Yeah,
are
there
some
is.
women
maybe
man
there's gonna
haters.
be some trigger happy women, you know.
Yeah,
there
true.
could be that, and there could be like an abusive ex that knows where the gun is and could use that against them.
That's true too.
I don't know. It just doesn't sound like the solution people imagine it to be. You know.
The solution to what, like
Solution's
hormone
pepper spray, bro.
Or
People are
education,
sleeping on it.
education,
Education.
education,
sex education,
sex education.
Yeah.
You think that's
Consent.
consent. Yeah, no,
Consent?
fully. Yeah, like it's.
Do you think guys
Nah,
like have
I
a hard
think-
time with consent?
Not even
Yeah.
just consent. I think a lot of dudes don't understand the idea of objectification.
Or
Like
boundaries.
I feel like a
You're
lot of
spitting, yeah.
I feel like a lot of dudes genuinely like treat women like objects or
Yeah,
see them
I
as an
agree.
object,
Mhm.
and they don't themselves like understand that they're doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah, because I think a lot of guys probably think of themselves, just from like experience that I know, they're like, oh no, like I don't objectify women, but in reality, it's because they're just not even aware of what they're doing.
yeah,
you know?
like when
I see it the biggest in like body count. I really think like
and they call it like mileage, like
Yeah,
she's a car.
No, yeah, but I remember seeing a video about these dudes on TikTok, and they were talking about, the question was body count, right? And they were like, they instantly were like already starting off being like I'm not here to speak on all men and blah blah blah. But they basically were like, it's like a purse, right? And like you wouldn't want like a thrifted purse, right? That's been used, right?
Yeah.
And then I remember seeing in the comments and being like, but why do you have to use the example of a purse, like an object,
Yeah,
right? Like,
that's-
why do you
yeah.
have to use that?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that like? Because it's like they're talking about, and their reasonings, and they actually said this is because like they're like, oh, she's been used, like she's
Yeah.
been like basically like ran through, right?
Yeah.
And to me, I'm kind of like, well, what's the difference between like having sex with like, I don't know, 10 different guys to like having sex 10 times with the same guy? Like it's the same like
It's the same mileage.
I don't know.
you said
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I did not say
no,
that.
I get what
But
you're
I'm just
saying.
I get what
saying
you're saying, I get what you're
like
saying.
like I don't
That
know,
in
it's-
itself is
it's-
the example they
like
use.
why
right?
why does it just devalue, why does that devalue women,
it's
you
just,
know?
It's just like, yeah, a woman, for a lot of guys, it seems like a woman is not more than her sexual history.
Mhm.
Like, if a woman's sexual history, then she's nothing else. Like,
'Cause-
outside of that, you know?
And I was just like, a lot of the reasons were like, oh, because she hasn't been used, or like she hasn't been like messed with, or like or sometimes some people say it because they're innocent, and I'm like, bro, what does that even mean?
They just want a
Like-
child.
like I don't know. I just think that's just really really like weird, and
I'm
like,
telling you, it's the phrasing, man.
and why it's like such a big deal of like body count.
Mhm.
Like what's so wrong with it? You
I think
know?
it's just the internet that messed everything up.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, it's just
You think that
the
made
internet.
men more objectify women more?
Yeah, definitely.
I
Porn.
think women in general have always been kind of objectified. They've been like, well, because if not just a sexual object, they used to have to be like cook and clean. They used to have to
Yeah.
be like a maid as well.
They were secondary. They
Yeah,
were,
they're like women had to be like a thing, you know,
Mhm.
like a broom that also sucks your dick, you know, and
Mhm.
also makes you pancakes.
Mhm.
You know, it's not. There's no. They erased the person part, and
Mhm.
you know, it.
I guess since then we've always been trying to kind of like put it back. But I agree with what Patrick said. Is that you're right? Women have always been objectified, but I think porn has like, dude, had like some crazy effects
Oh, for sure.
on guys nowadays. Cause like porn is literally everywhere. Like it's not just on like the you go on
It's on
Google and type it in.
Twitter
It's on Twitter. It's on Instagram. It's on
Reddit.
TikTok. Like if you look for it, you can find it. You know?
Yeah.
I think there's like a
Oh.
crazy
Real.
number of people with like porn addiction right now.
No, yeah.
Yeah, you
dude.
think so?
I think
No,
there is.
100%.
We've been in the pandemic, so like
People
all that time alone,
People are like obsessed with porn, bro. Like it's like
conventions, all that shit.
yeah. I feel
True.
like-
OnlyFans.
yeah. Well, I
Do you
don't
think
know.
porn is harmful though?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
You think
I
a bottom line, no matter how you try to make it,
I don't know.
even if there's like an auteur,
I don't
bringing it?
know. I think a majority of porn that exists is generally bad.
I've
'Cause-
seen some. Oh, sorry.
Well, no, go ahead.
Well, I've seen some porn stars. They talk about. They're like, yeah, it's kind of made like the objectified of woman worse now.
Well,
Mhm.
because it also like people say it like it glorifies like rape culture, like you know
I can agree
where,
to
where
that,
it, like
yeah.
glorifies rape culture, that women are an object, like you know like and what it does, like it conditions people to like see that, You know? And when you see that like constantly from a young age, like I know we were talking about like back then, but when you see a porno mag, there's not like a
search bar.
There's not like a search bar. There's not
recommended.
There's not like a scenario already, you know. I guess, but in some of the scenarios that are in porn, you know,
yeah, because even the like stuck in the laundromat, it's about taking advantage of a woman, right?
Or it's like it'll be like an older woman and the guy's supposed to be in high school or some shit like that, or it's supposed to, you know what I mean? Or the
dad and the stepdaughter. Yeah, it's kind of like it plays on the fact that she's supposed to be like underage, but not actually.
It kind of would relate to a little bit like the Tom Brady thing. It kind of fucks with your mind of like seeing Tom Brady and his son like that.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's what I was trying to say. That was the tweet. I couldn't find the tweet, by the way.
Oh, you couldn't find it?
I couldn't find the tweet.
No, I
but I
remember. No, yeah, I feel like porn for sure is like probably really bad for you.
Because that's what a lot of people think, like, oh, Tom Brady with his son like that, oh, it's nasty.
Well, because people also talk about like its ethics behind it too, of like how it's manufactured. Because it's like I think it's just bad for like it's
like bad treatment.
It's bad treatment. Like they take advantage. They groom women. Some porn stars talk about how like when they're 16, 17, they're like, oh hey, like you know, you ever thought about it? Because how else do they get that barely legal shit? You know?
Yeah.
It's like it's weird, you know.
True. I mean, it's even 18 is even like a category in porn.
Even the porn stars, they're like depressed with their job.
Do you think a lot of things are just very overly sexualized now, though?
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. It's like a tricky like. It's kind of tricky because it's like, well, because I feel like things are really sexualized, but it's also like I feel like there's some things that are like repressed sexually. Like, I think women don't get to express their sexuality, but at the same time, they're super, like, sexualized.
Yeah.
It's kind of like...
I know, right? Yeah.
It's just kind of tricky because it's like, well, I guess the only answer is, like, you have to let them do it on their own terms, right? But I don't know. It's just tricky in society, right? Because it's like... it's just one of those things. Like, they're conflicting battles, right?
I feel like the most tricky part is that like you're going against to like both groups. Like there's also women who also agree of like, well, women shouldn't be having sex like a lot. Like they shouldn't be doing that kind of thing. And then you have men who are like the same thing, right? And they're like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that either.
Well, because it's also weird because it's like I do think a lot of porn is like bad, and I think like a lot of people watch it to a degree where they do become addicted. Because like it's a real thing. Like it's bad for you. Like if you to watch that shit like every day, right? But it's also weird because like OnlyFans and like people want sex workers to like, and I agree with that. Like I think sex work should be legalized, and I think it's a legitimate job or whatever. But it's, you know what I mean? It's also tricky when you're like, but porn's bad, you know?
Well, you know that people talk about, and historians have said that like the whorehouses or whatever you want to call them, like the saloons where you get prostitutes. They say that was like a big backbone of like expansion here in the West. That like a lot of like people who worked on the railroads or like wanted to work here, they only really went to places that had whorehouses. So funny enough, like
you could probably just say saloons.
Funny enough, like sex workers,
brothels,
sex workers have. That's what they were called, though.
I'm just kidding.
Sex workers have been like a backbone of the United States for a long time.
The whorehouses, the slut stations.
Yeah.
There's like this crazy fact that in SF the streets are named after prostitutes.
Oh really?
Yeah, like almost a majority.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Bro, exhibit B.
It's like getting a jersey retired.
Kind of. I don't know. I wouldn't say that.
She put up astronaut.
But like it's kind of like historical, like because
all-time scoring record.
How you said like people would go back to brothels or saloons for.
Yeah.
No, but like, it's just a very like tricky predicament. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're obviously joking around, but like, I know it's a serious topic. You know, it's like
Yeah, man, you gotta have some levity.
No, I know, but I'm just saying like it's tricky. Like I don't know. Like I don't know what the answer is.
To what in particular? What?
Well, because it's like, well, what do you do? Like how do we fix this?
Women?
Yeah, how do we fix this?
I feel like it's pretty simple. I feel like it starts from within. It starts from within, my brother. You gotta tell your homies.
It's you gotta fix the man in the mirror.
Yeah, well, you gotta tell like because once you do that, you can fix your other dudes.
You gotta keep your homies accountable too.
Good parenting too.
Well, cause bro, like we exist.
Why are you pointing at what you do?
I'm just kidding.
Wait, I don't know what I do.
Just kidding.
Cause bro, we live in the patriarchy. Like we have we genuinely have the power as men to really change society.
Well, cause it's like because
we run things.
It's tricky, right? Cause it's like cause like women also don't really have control of their bodies anymore either. Like they can't choose whether or not they want to have you know. So it's like like if you want to say women aren't like objectified, you're tripping hard because like just look at what happened with Roe v. Wade. You know what I mean? Like they don't have control over their own bodies. Like
I was watching that video. I don't know if you guys have seen it, the Vice video where it's a panel of women and they're like talking about feminism and stuff and they're like arguing and stuff. And there's one girl who like is very like, no, I don't think women have like, I don't think they're struggling. I think it's pretty easy for women.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them get very aggressive at her.
Yeah.
Like they start being like kind of like mean to her. And I remember me being like, I feel like you guys are still like helping her point out of like just starting by just like being mean.
I don't like those Vice like topics
videos.
Like the videos because
they're usually just yelling.
Yeah,
but like just every now and again they're kind of cool. They're the one about like kids versus adults arguing. And it's like Sigma male kids, and they're arguing against like adults, and like it's very clear that what they're saying, they don't know what they're talking about.
I remember they did like one with Asian culture here, and like I think they got the wrong people. Like, they picked on the wrong people. They got people that are totally far left and people that are totally far right, and they kind of forgot like the people who actually moved here. Yeah, they didn't pick those people. They just picked like second generation or something.
I get what you mean.
But to me, watching that video, I was just very like, damn, like. We're so fucking divided, like as women. But I'm talking about as women because it's like a panel of just women, and they were of different like there was like trans women on that panel. There was like white, black, Latina, like it was all mixed, right? And just seeing how like they were going against each other, I was kind of like, we're not gonna get anywhere. Like
it's because it's part of it, Julie. The part of the patriarchy is to make women be enemies to each other, so that way they never like. In any system where you're trying to suppress the lesser, not saying that women are lesser, but I'm saying the one that's at the disadvantage, you're supposed to make them inner fighting. That's why people say all the time. That's what the news does with citizens.
On this topic, I don't know if this is offensive. I don't mean it to be offensive. I just think it's an interesting like, it was just an interesting joke that one of my favorite comedians make. I was watching his special and he talks about he's talking about the WNBA and how that's I'm not close. Well, he's talking about the WNBA, Bill Burr, and he's talking about how like you know how everybody's kind of like how everybody kind of shits on the WNBA and how like they don't deserve the money because he was just talking about how like he feels like he was joking in a joking manner. He was saying he feels like women should be watching the WNBA more. He was like he finds it kind of funny how like women don't like the idea of seeing a group of women come together to achieve a common goal, but they watch Real Housewives where they tear each other down and they love that shit. I'm not saying that that's how women are, but I'm just saying like it's interesting that you bring up the fact that women are divided. You get what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. Right? No, I mean it's not too bad. I mean, again, bringing up my education from college, my philosophy of sex and love class. Yeah. They talk about the theory as to why like a lot of women actually like inner fight. Instead, it goes back to the Freud thing about how when you're born, you're in love with your parents. Yeah. And it talks about how women are from birth like basically predestined to always have kind of like an anger against other women because they fall in love with their dad, but their dad is like belong to their mom. So they always feel a distrust to another woman because they lost their first love. This is like a theory. Doesn't mean it's right. Yeah. But it means that like even from then, from when the theory was conceived in like the 1800s, for hundreds of years, there's always been this idea that women have inner fighting, like which is really interesting to me.
But I also think it's not that hard to believe that women like are divided because like I mean not even just like recently, for all of history. Women have had like very like defined like second class roles. They're supposed to be like they've always been like literally as you can go back as far as we have writing, that's how women have been like presented or expected to be, So it's like I guess when you talk about how women are divided, it's kind of like it's because I feel like it's so ingrained that like a lot of people learn it and they're like that's just the way things are. That's what it means to be a woman, Yeah. But that's not true,
We didn't get rights until 1920, bro.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people didn't get rights.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't get
at least voting rights.
Yeah.
White women got rights.
Yeah, white women.
Yeah,
got
that's
rights.
another one that people talk about in the feminist movement. The white feminists excluded the black feminists, and then the Ain't I a Women. That's where
Yeah.
his famous he's from.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time, and I'm telling you that I guess the solution I could think of is like, as a guy, you have to be the one to. I don't know, or is that like male savior shit?
I don't know.
Are
That's
we
why-
like? Are
that's-
we not? Are we not
I
supposed
think
to
it's
step
supposed to
in?
be down to the parents.
What do you mean?
Oh, like
Like they teach
women
them.
and men.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
you
yeah,
mean like,
literally.
as a parent, you have to break the roles of what that woman.
Yeah, the
is.
not just break the rules, but like teach them. Like, hey, like I see your mother's equal. You're
mean-
literally half and half of us.
Oh, that's a good
Like
point.
you came from her.
I mean, I don't see it as a male savior thing. I'm like, you guys kind of made the problem, so it's kind of like.
Oh, it's
why
our
not solve it?
responsibility to fix it.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
I don't know. I think that's how
Yeah,
I
that's a
see
good
it. And I
point.
don't think, because I feel like a lot of like being for women and all this, like at least for some, and I don't know if this is true or it might be, but I feel like for some women they start becoming like men haters, right? Because they're
Mhm.
like, oh, like
Yeah.
we have a very
Yeah.
like unequal way of like how we grew up or whatever, and I think not having them as allies, like not having men as allies, doesn't benefit us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like having them there and like them helping us, because like how they said, like especially how they say like with white people, right? Like they're kind of the voice, right? For us, like men would be the voice, right? Because if like
Mhm.
we're still getting talked down on, then who's gonna be heard?
Mhm.
The male is more likely to be heard, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, like it's bad, but it's still like in a way I feel like it would benefit us. I don't know if
Yeah.
that sounds wrong or if I'm
Yeah.
like more like male
I
this,
get
male
you.
that, but
Because
like,
it's very easy for then somebody to be like, "What? Like, so the man has to to
save
do it
us?
for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, has
Yeah.
to do it for you. Your man
but
has
I
to
mean
speak
they're
for
the
you?
ones who created the issue, right? Like everything was run like
it's
all
just
that.
also like it's weird because it's like a lot of dudes don't see it like how they're
Yeah.
genuinely objectifying women.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I remember in high school being like, "What are women tripping about?" Like
Mhm.
it's just the same, you know.
Yeah.
But like when you get older and you start to see like you just have a better understanding of their strife and you're educated about it.
Mm.
Like whoa,
Mhm.
you know, because like even that example, like it's kind of a throwaway example, like to them to the podcast. But a lot of kids are seeing that they're like, yeah, that makes sense to me. Like that's
Yeah.
totally that's how I feel, you know.
Mhm.
Where it's like, oh, well, she's like a purse or she's like a car, and they constantly keep beating down this idea that a woman is like an object.
Yeah.
Mhm.
know?
And to them, it makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, why would I want a thrifted when I could buy a
Yeah,
whole
I
ass
want a
new
brand
purse?
new, like,
like,
Yeah.
you know.
yeah.
But humans are humans, man.
Yeah.
We're not fucking objects. Like,
Yeah, it's
there's,
like
there's not really any wear and tear in the human, like when it comes to sex,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Unless you were like fucking like a rock or something and like broke your your testicles or some shit.
Yeah,
Then I
but-
guess there's technically something
I don't
broken.
know. It's just it
I don't know.
sucks and
We're
stuff.
also all made, I don't know, in a woman, you know? Like,
Yeah, true.
why don't you respect
Do you guys
women,
think
know?
there's like a gender war going on right now?
A gender war in what way?
Yeah, because you know how the whole Andrew Tate thing is going off, and then I know what you're talking about, but I've seen those street interviews where it seems as though like it's kind of trying to trick women into saying bad things about
Oh,
their own
yeah.
gender. I don't know what it's called. It's just like a side
Uh-huh.
talk thing. Yeah, like
But what
a
did they
sidewalk.
ask?
They just ask.
Well, they'll kind of ask leading questions that
Yeah.
kind of like entice women to say things that are like kind of bashing women. in a
Yeah.
way,
Well,
right?
like for example, like the suicide rate for men is higher than women's, and like
Mhm.
I seen a clip like that. And woman's like, "Oh, I don't care," and there's like an edit like of like some Sigma montage
Yeah.
or something.
There's just like a lot of things on TikTok that promotes that like women don't care about men and
Yeah.
and so men shouldn't care about women.
yeah.
It's like very popular in my
Whi-
opinion.
Which I don't know. I never really understood. I mean, is that true? Like, I never. You know how a lot of people will kind of bring up that women don't like weak men or women don't like vulnerable men.
Mhm.
I've never. I don't think I've ever met a woman that's kind of like that.
I don't know. I have though.
That's really.
Yeah,
That's like
in
that?
real life, yeah.
I have, but
I
no, I
have.
wouldn't say all of
I
them.
f-
Yeah, I wouldn't say all of
feel-
them either.
But like, I feel
But
like
there are people like
but
that.
I'm just saying that to
Just
illustrate
damaged,
the
bro.
fact to like.
They're just yeah.
We're all
just-
damaged.
just
Yeah, but
damaged
I'm
people.
saying that to illustrate the fact that like I don't. The way they present it, it's like the majority, and I don't know if I agree it's the majority.
Mhm.
You're just trying to reach the target audience.
I don't know. I don't agree. I feel like most women are pretty cool. That They're
Yeah.
pretty kind.
I don't think that's a hot take. Most women are pretty cool. Hot
Just-
take.
No, but I mean the way they present it online.
I
it's-
get
it's
you,
that all
yeah.
women don't give a fuck and they only want this. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I think it's because they talk about this all the time, but there's a rise, and this is an actual stat. It isn't something that's came out of the blue, but recently there's been a rise in loneliness in the United States, and I feel like despite like what people want, like I think everybody kind of deep down wants something romantic, or they want like a partner, right? Like it doesn't. I'm not saying that that's such like what you need, but I think a lot of people think that subconsciously, you know, because it's in our biology. Biology is just to like mate. And so I think when you're lonely, sometimes it's very easy for you to get frustrated and then be like, man, like, how come, like, as a dude, how come chicks don't want me, man? Like, how come you don't want me, man? Like, and like a lot of that frustration turns into resentment, and resentment turns into anger, and then anger turns into a man who hates women, you know?
That's how you become a Sith.
Yeah, and
That's what they say in the movie.
That's why he doesn't respect women.
and because of algorithms, you're right. Like you reach the target audience. So when you then create this guy who's a man who hates women, he then goes into this echo chamber of just media that's all about showing you how women don't give a fuck about men and how you shouldn't give a fuck about them. Yeah, and that's all you see. And so to you, in your own world, in your little
like,
bubble, when you go on the internet,
I see it all the time.
Yeah.
I see how women are.
And your final form is Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, and your final form is Patrick.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking with you. But that's how I always think about it. I feel like I wish there could be a way for everybody to have like a sister, or like for the opposite gender to have like a counterpart,
Like
right?
a sibling.
Yeah, because I feel like
Or like another half.
like another half, yeah. Because I what I've seen from people who are either man haters or women haters, like from both sides, I've always seen it's because they really don't have like a trustworthy, like predominant, like either male figure in their life or woman figure in their life. That's what I've always seen. Real life examples. I've always seen that people who are the most man haters and woman haters are because they don't have like somebody who they genuinely trust from that side. And that's where it comes from. So if everybody had like a sibling, like how I have my sister, then you get perspective like that.
You don't think that some dudes, like, especially if they have a little sister, that they still kind of get this like I don't know.
Oh, this like I need to protect my sister because she's property. She belongs to the family.
Yeah, you know. No,
you're right. I mean, you're right. Maybe I guess if it was closer in age, I guess when the dude is really a lot older, there's a disconnect because there's an age difference.
Yeah,
the age difference means everything, you know. But me and my sister are just like sometimes just a year apart. Yeah. So I feel like I've always empathized a lot with like women because I'm like my sister's pretty chill. Like, you know,
she's just like me.
She don't. She's just like me for real. Like she doesn't really like exist on preying on men's downfall, you know. She doesn't hope that.
I think you also just learn about like each other. Like at least for me personally, like I just grew up around like my brothers, so I understand a lot more of like males, right? I understand more like men and like how they kind of work and everything. And I'm sure they kind of see how I act, so they kind of understand like women and like what they go through and kind of like how they are kind of. But I'm also like not going off of like what they go off to. Like everyone is like that, right?
Yeah.
It's like just a certain perspective that I now have that I'm like, okay, I understand whatever's going on with men and all that stuff.
I get what you mean.
I'll say you probably need like an older sister then instead of a younger sister.
Yeah, you think it's better if it's the older sister? But what if the older sister's a man hating? Nah, I've never met an older sister that's like a man. You have an older sister, right?
Yeah, she's not like that. She just doesn't want kids.
Oh, that makes sense. I have an older sister too, and she doesn't want kids either.
What's her name?
It's like I'm not gonna say it on the pod, but yeah, she's pretty chill. Yeah,
Pretty chill?
She's cool. She's cool, I guess.
She's cool, I guess. You know, she alright.
I got both older and younger.
Oh, that's cool.
Siblings.
Yeah, are they cool?
Which one's your favorite?
Yeah.
Pick right now.
They annoy me all the time, you know.
You actually have an older sister too, no?
2 older sisters.
Yeah.
I thought you had older brothers.
I have older brothers and older.
Damn.
I don't
Yeah,
have
he
a
comes
little
from a
brother.
big
though.
family, bro.
Oh,
I don't have a little brother.
It's only your younger sister.
I'm the little brother. I only have a younger sister. I don't have a
Okay.
little brother.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you have like 3 sisters in totals, and how many brothers? 3 brothers?
There's 6 of us, so 3 and 3. But so I have 2 brothers, but so
I
my
see.
sister has 3 brothers and I have 3 sisters.
That's cool. And none of you guys are man hating or woman hating?
No.
Nah.
I think it's like
You see, when you have both genders in your family or someone in your life, you become less of like a fucking like sexist person.
You think so?
I think so. I
You
really think.
so?
I'm telling you, bro.
I feel like you're
I
more
really think.
susceptible to it. I wouldn't say you're more.
It's cause like I know I'm telling you, I only know one person who doesn't have a sibling. Remember we talked about it.
Mhm.
I only know one person who doesn't have a sibling. There's a lot of so some of y'all lying, you know, so what's y'all? So you guys have siblings and you guys still hate women or hate men, you know? So what's the issue?
I
you know?
guess you're right.
Yeah.
I guess you're right. But it's cool that we're talking about like gender norms because it's really what I kind of wanted to bring as like a topic. Is there any gender norms that you guys feel like pressured as a dude or as a woman?
Gender
I
norms,
like the way-
like
I know you guys
me
are
having
quiet.
to be
Whatever.
like a housewife kind of thing.
More like do you,
I'd love to be a housewife.
I'd like to. Be,
Yeah, you wanna be a
I'd love to
housewife?
be a house husband.
I'd
should we
love
tell
to
them
be
it's
a
not as
housewife.
easy as it seems?
I'm not saying it's easy.
Yeah, we're not saying it's easy.
I'm not
It's
saying
like-
it's easy.
Oh, you got that dog in you?
No, I just think
You
it's
just wanna
it,
cook
it
and
just kind of seems
clean.
kind of fun, like
I
to
feel
just
like I would
be
love to learn
home.
how to cook.
dude, like
Dude, I like cooking
I'd
actually.
love to make a meal for my family.
I'd love to like
So
I'd love to make a meal for my
I'd take
family.
up
Lucky same.
I'd take up making pastries. I'd make pies.
you'd wear the apron.
Like, hey kids, got your meal here, and they're like, "Wow, Dad, you made this."
And I'd cry.
I
'cause,
cry.
I cry.
I'd read them a bedtime
And
story.
But even though we're joking, like I the reason I asked you, Julie, like tell them it's not all that it's meant to be. I don't actually. I'm joking even in that. But I mean, like, how come that discourages you?
Me?
Yeah.
Before, not to interrupt you, I think it's more because it's like me and Patrick. We get when we say that, it's because we see that as a privilege, as like a choice, as like, oh, we're doing so well, or the woman's bringing in so much money, we can just kind of like we can choose to do that, you know. But with women, I think they don't like that. It's because they're expected to do that. Like you're not a woman unless you do that. You
I
know?
agree with you, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to.
Yeah,
I wanted to
I'ma
hear what
just
she had to
start
say.
Yeah, but go ahead,
crying.
go ahead,
Yeah.
go
Just kidding. No, what was your question again? What?
Okay, so for them, you see how even for me,
Oh, they
like
wanna-
it's something
like,
that
you
sounds
guys wanna do
exciting,
it,
yeah. But
I'm
you as a
kinda
woman,
like-
why is it different?
I think for me, it's kind of like, I guess going off of like what Brandon said, it's just like something that's just like expected of me. And I think for me, myself, I think I just grew up with that because I think it's like, I was always expected to like, I have to serve or I always have to like clean or I always have to do this. It always seemed more like a chore, like that I had to do. And it was just like, I had to do that plus like still go to school, still do work, do all of these things. And then I also saw it more of like a comparison to like you guys. Like I saw it to you and like our older brother of like you guys wouldn't do anything. Like you guys would just be like laying down or like playing video games while I had to like clean and like do all the chores in like the house when like I was also tired and I had to do homework.
Yeah, plus
right?
my sister was the same. Like she would get in trouble for not doing so, and I would feel bad. And I'm like, why is she getting in trouble for like?
Yeah.
I'm being lazy as fuck.
I know,
me.
I'm not even doing anything.
Yeah,
I
and
get you.
and for me, I would get in trouble like sick time. Like I would get in trouble like especially when we had parties and stuff, and like I wouldn't be helping like mom like serve people. She would get pissed. She would be like, "You have to help me and do this," and I'm like, "But my brothers are inside playing video games and I can't do that. Like why?" Like to me, it just seemed unfair. To me, it was just like why the mistreatment, right? Or like the difference of like why do I have to do this? Like it didn't make sense to me, especially at a young age. It just didn't make sense. Like to me, I was just like, this is weird. Like I get it that my mom is like that, right? Because that's like how she grew up, kind of thing. But like for me, it was like we were kind of growing up the same, but we were still getting treated different. Like I had to clean or do all those things, and I guess for me in my head, it was going against like the patriarchy, right? Of like, well, I'm not gonna do this because it's expected of me, and like, yeah, like I kind of fucked myself over of like I don't know how to cook now, but it's still like I didn't want to do it because of like I have to do it for a man, because that's how it was being brought up for me at least when I was growing up. I was doing it so that eventually I could do it for a man and I could eventually do it for my kids. And I was kind of like, no, like, I don't want to do it for other people. Like, I want to do it for myself, but not for other people. Yeah. And that's it for me. I was always like, not. At one point, I was like, fuck men. Like, I was like, because they were kind of like the reason as to why, like society was saying that I should do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being like, this is whack. And that's why for a while I was always like, I don't like men. Like I just didn't like the fact that it was affecting my life as a woman. And I was kind of like, okay, this is like, why? Like, what's like, why is it that way? Like, I never, at a young age, I just never understood it. Eventually, I was kind of like, okay, like, I kind of got over it, right?
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, okay, like, this just isn't, this isn't fair. And it's still, like, now it's still there, you know, when I still have to, like, clean and do all these things. But it was a lot more intense when I was younger, I feel like. But now I feel like I have more of a voice and a say because I'm older. And I can do kind of whatever I want at this point. But it's like when I was younger, it was more of like that I was just kind of like, this is weird. And I hate this.
Weirdly enough, that's why when women are man haters, I really enough kind of like let it pass more than when men are women haters.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when men are women haters, it has always something to do with like something romantically or something like that.
Or like, I deserve this.
Yeah,
Like,
but like for women, it's a lot deeper than that. You know, it's literally about the way you
real.
grow up and what they tell you to do and how to
Yeah.
like do, how to dress, how to act. Like your responsibility is always to serve. Like,
yeah. Well,
to the
because
man.
this is like also like on another like personal thing, like growing up. I mean, my dad wasn't like super strict on me, like what I would wear, but my older brother was. Like he was the one who would always tell me like you shouldn't be wearing dresses, like where you or like, and my mom would be the one who would pick out what I would wear. So it's like it was already like approved not only from like my parents, like it was fine. But my brother would be like, "Oh, you shouldn't be wearing that. You shouldn't be wearing this." And not to like call him out on that, but it was just like growing up with that and being told like what to wear and like how to dress and like how to do all these things. And it was like, and yeah, and it was cool because like my mom would defend me. She would be like, "Bro, like, are you really gonna be fine if she wears a dress and she has like basketball shorts under them? Like, do you think that actually looks nice?" So like my mom would like defend me like when my brother would be like on his thing. But it was just like kind of growing up with that, I was kind of like, okay, this is weird. Like what's so wrong with it? To me, a lot of it was just like I didn't understand what was so wrong with it. Like it was just like, am I doing something wrong? Like, is it like, what am I putting out?
Did you ever feel like you were less of a girl, like less of a woman because of that stuff? Whenever you'd go against like the patriarchy.
Yeah, I mean, well, because again, like since I grew up with brothers, I feel like even for a good while, I wasn't even comfortable with like wearing dresses or anything. Like mom always tells the story of like when I used to try. This is a funny story. I think it's a funny story where she used to say that I used to try to like to be like a guy, because like they would like dress me in like pants and all that, because like they kind of wanted me to be a boy. And I grew up with my siblings, so I kind of saw how they would like go to the restroom and do like all of these things. So then I started copying them at a young age, and then my mom kind of like had a talk with my dad and was like, "Do you really want her to like act like this? Like, do you really want her to be like this way?" And then eventually, like my dad was like, "No, like not really." And after like the pee incident, right? And then not until I officially had my quinceañera that I finally like actually was just like, I want to start doing like more, I guess, like girly stuff. And then that's when I started doing it. But then I started hearing like, I guess like the backlash of like what I was wearing or whatever. And then that's when I was kind of like, well, I guess I don't want to do it, right?
Because you telling it, that's like she couldn't win either way. It's like she dressed like a dude. It's like, nah, she's dressing too much like a dude. She dressed like a girl. But yeah, but she can't dress like that though. It's like insane, you know?
And it's like not it. That's not just me, right? Like that's every like.
She's one
that's
story,
a lot of
bro.
women, you know.
One story.
That's what a lot of women like kind of go through, right? Of like you can never like, I guess, satisfy anyone.
Can't do shit right.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever feel feminine more than masculine? And did that ever feel shameful to you guys, like growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can agree. I can agree with that too. Yeah. I feel like growing up, I always felt very like, and it's funny because whenever I tell people, they laugh because I'm like, I guess because I have like a lot of facial hair and I'm a pretty hairy guy. But growing up, I felt very feminine. I felt very like I wasn't a man. Like I felt smaller, especially because I'm a short king. So I always felt kind of like I felt like I could never live up to that idea of whatever like a man was supposed to be. So and I guess it's tricky for both sides, right? Because it's like for women, I feel that pain too. You know, I can relate to that a lot. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe we just want to be a house husband. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys ready to be house husbands? Jay, would you want to be the
Stay at home.
breadwinner or a housewife? Honest,
I think I'll be.
honestly.
I think I'll be the breadwinner.
Ooh,
I go to work.
Okay.
I'll go to work.
That's how we fix this. Everybody switches roles.
Oh,
So
so
that-
for like at least how long? 100 years?
No, we'll just everybody gets a taste of their own medicine. So now we'll be like, oh, we understand your strife. You know.
So we're
I
gonna be
didn't-
called sluts and hoes.
Yeah.
Women are gonna be like he's
That
a
whore.
ran through.
He's right.
Cat calling us.
Yeah, cat calls. Be
Oh,
like
yeah.
we gotta shave. Like there can't be a hair below the eyebrow. Nothing, no hair below the eyebrow.
I don't grow anything, so
No, I'm just kidding.
It'll be easier for you guys. I probably have to every day I wake up.
you have to shave again.
No, I genuinely like thinking about it. I feel like I like working. Like, I don't think I would like being at home. Honestly, I mean, if I have the option to like do it, I'll do it. You know, I'll be home, chill. But I feel like I like working. Weirdly enough,
Mm-hmm.
like I like being out and like doing my business stuff. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Cause and especially like talking about like catcalling, I always notice this of like how men look at women when they're walking by themselves in the streets, and I always get scared when a car like pulls up and they're like just staring at me, and it's just it's like an older dude and he's just like staring at me as I like walk across the street. And I always like, damn. That's why I like the guns with girls or the what is it?
Girls
Girls
with
with guns.
Girls with guns.
You like
I
that?
thought you
I'm
said you
kinda
did like it. She switched the switch up
I'm kind of like, I mean, that's why I walk with pepper spray. I mean, I walk with it everywhere.
as a warning for anybody
It's
who
a
sees
warning.
her.
It's a warning.
She's always got her thumb on the trigger.
We gotta upgrade.
No, bro,
We gotta
I-
upgrade women. We gotta like.
Oh, we
gotta
gotta-
upgrade.
In the future, like when we like genetically, like we gotta give them like claws or something.
We should make it to where women are naturally taller than men. So
Oh, so
every
like
woman's like
Amazonian?
6 feet. Every
Nah, we gotta give them Wolverine claws.
You're saying Amazonian women are slept on? Is that what you're saying?
well, like in what way?
I'm just kidding.
All women are beautiful, bro.
Nah, I think we gotta give them Wolverine claws, but guys can't have them, so that sucks.
What do guys get?
Nothing. That's
like
the,
they're
don't get
installed in
Hawkeyes
my
at
hand
least?
already, or what?
yeah, like you can do the Wolverine thing. Like, so like if a dude's ever coming at you, just you know.
No, I generally when I'm wearing a jacket, I always just have it here, so that's why my hands are usually always in my pocket. And then I always it has a little like
Damn.
switch thing, so like to like
Got the
to like
safety
turn
off.
it so
Got
you
the
can like
safety off?
spread it. Yeah,
Got the
I
safety off?
always have it there. I always have it there because one of my coworkers actually said that she actually has a taser, and I asked her, I was like, "Why do you have a taser?" She's like, "I actually got robbed one time by like 2 dudes," and she's like, "Ever since then, I always walk with a taser." So then, but because we were like, we had to go into the arena, and usually they don't let you in with those things. She left it in the office, and then she forgot it there, and then the next day, her boss was like, "No, you left your taser here," and she's like, "Oh yeah," she's like, "I look, you forgot about it, but I brought my pepper spray today because I didn't have my taser." So she's always on it, and she
Always
also
gotta
has
stay strapped.
citizen because she's also like super paranoid about it
Yeah.
now. Because she's like, "Bro, I got robbed once. I legit got jumped once." So she's like, "That's why I carry it now."
Do you guys think that everybody should learn like a martial art, like or self defense, like karate or some shit?
Yeah.
You think so?
You think I could
Um,
win if I learn?
Yeah, because I was gonna say like,
Do you think
don't
I
think
could win?
everybody really should have it?
Um.
Should learn something.
You generally think I could win if I learned?
You think if Patrick got up to attack my sister right now, you think she
I
got
don't know
it?
about like I
If
don't
she
know,
knew,
I don't know
like-
about striking, but maybe like if you knew like Brazilian jiu-jitsu or
You have to
something like
laugh.
that, Brazilian jiu-jitsu or like something like that maybe.
But like, if you're gonna go putazos, nah. Like,
Yeah.
Because
if you hitting full force Patrick versus Patrick hitting full force you, like I'm sorry, it's just not fair. Like it's
Biologically,
it's just not
yeah.
fair. Like it's just not fair. But like most people don't know how to fight whatsoever. So
Is-
like if a woman knows like Brazilian jiu-jitsu or something like that, I
Yeah.
think it gives her like it's better than nothing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
True.
It you know. So I don't.
Is
know.
the bite force the same between men and women?
I don't.
Do we bite at the same force?
I can look that up.
Right?
I
Look
can
that up
look
real
that
quick.
up.
Look
probably
that
like
up.
biology or something.
Harder?
A little bit more.
Mhm.
You know, weirdly enough, I know how to like defend myself more with like my legs.
That's good. They actually say that's
Yeah.
better.
No, because your legs have more reach
Yeah.
too.
But you know, it's because like with you guys, when you guys would like
Yeah.
mess with me, and I would always use like my feet. To,
My
like, protect
my
me.
sister would fucking like.
That's why when Brandon, remember when he tried to
What,
like
what's
hit
up?
me? That
It
was
says in all the groups, gender was found to be a significant factor associated with maximal bite force. A global comparison, including all the subjects and measures, showed that the means of men were approximately 30% higher than those of women.
Damn.
So dudes bite a lot.
Ah,
harder.
damn. I was hoping you had at least that one.
Well, there's
we gotta buff women.
Yeah.
We gotta give her something.
Wolverine claws.
I've learned in criminal justice that like some women in the force have to be a lot more careful when like apprehending a suspect, because just having a woman on the field can determine a lot for like, let's say you're gonna have to, as a woman you're gonna take down like a bigger suspect. So if the bigger suspect takes down the woman, they're gonna get more criminally charged than compared to a man.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's what they teach you in like the academies and stuff.
Oh wow.
So you'll get more charged for like battery against a woman, or like like defending yourself.
I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? That makes a lot of sense. I mean, if I tagged Patrick,
Yeah, what do you guys
we-
think about like? I mean, so you guys saw that video of Dana White hitting his wife?
Damn.
yeah.
You know who Dana White is?
no.
You know who Mr. McMahon is?
Yeah.
You know how Mr. McMahon owns WWE?
He owns.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
or he owned.
No, he still owns
Oh,
it
he still
technically.
owns it, but
Mhm.
like you know how he's the boss.
Mm-hmm.
Dana White is the boss of UFC. He's the
Oh.
Mr. McMahon of UFC. Like
Good.
literally,
Yeah. Good way of
literally
explaining
the,
it,
Mhm.
the same thing. There's a video of them at a club. I think his wife smacks him first, but then he smacks her back.
Yeah. Yeah.
He apologized for the thing. That's what do you guys? What do you guys?
And was
think?
his wife? Was his wife like an ex UFC fighter or anything?
I don't know.
No. Because I mean, I would just imagine because he's in the UFC. The only reason I bring that up is because have you seen that like, well, because men get abused. Let's just like
Yeah.
straight up say it. Like
Yeah.
men do get abused
Yeah,
too.
it
Like
exists. Yeah,
there's
yeah.
that exists. Like it's not impossible for women to abuse men. But I guess in that scenario, I'm wondering if she was like a UFC fighter, did he feel like he genuinely was like,
Threatened?
oh, this is how we are because she's a genuine threat, you know? Let's say
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey slapped you, bro. Like,
Yeah,
you know?
that'd be pretty
Like
scary.
you'd be like, hey, yo, yeah. But if it's not, if she doesn't not a fighter, she's just a regular woman, because I know Dana White does have like a UFC background, then I think that's fucked up.
No, but
Either way, in relationships, to fight to that degree is pretty fucked up.
No, but like, see, but going back to the point, yeah, I feel like knowing a martial art does help women. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
Like,
yeah.
I'd be pretty scared if Ronda Rousey like was mad at me. I'd be pretty scared.
Raises her hand at you.
I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Like, I obviously think hitting anybody's wrong. Like, you
Mhm.
shouldn't do that.
Are you
Um,
But are you
pacifist?
saying? But are you saying like if women
Is it-
start hitting men?
If a woman
Can a
was
man
to,
hit back?
if a woman was to hit a man like hard, is it okay for a man to hit her back? What do you guys think about
That's
that?
a good question, dude.
Because I feel like I don't know, bro. I feel like it's,
I think
equal rights like equal left.
that's
bro.
what people say. Equal.
Yeah. I always hear people say though that it's like this probably isn't valid to us because we always talk about women.
Yeah.
But they're like, men only ever want equality when it's about striking a woman.
Yeah.
Like but yeah, dude, this is a good topic. Yeah, because honestly, I don't know.
'Cause I feel like
I feel like it's kind of like to me or like to like some things that I've seen before is like people are like, oh, you're kind of provoking like the monster, right? Like you're
Yeah.
provoking them, like
Cringe.
you're
Who
like
said that?
you're hitting someone who is capable of like
killing you.
killing you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're hitting someone because you think that they won't hit back, right?
I guess the way I see it is like, no, I mean not the way I see it, but it's like whenever I do see that happen, like I don't know if you guys see those fight videos on Twitter.
Yeah,
It'll be like,
I know what you're
let's say
talking about.
like it's in school, right? It'll be like a girl hits like a male student, and he's obviously way bigger.
Mhm.
And when he does hit back, she like flies across the
Yeah.
room, you
Mhm.
know, and
I
she's
seen
like
them.
knocked out, you know. So I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know.
Well,
That
okay,
leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
this is what it is. It has a lot to do with like comparisons and strength levels, right? Power
Yeah.
levels. let's say my nephew, right? You guys have all met him. He's 4 years old.
If he hit me, I
Let's
would.
say, yeah, yeah, right.
You know?
He hits you. Are you gonna fucking swing on him?
I was scared. Nah.
I was scared.
Or, like even if, and I understand because
He
sometimes
was about to bite you.
I've seen there's so many arguments. This is like a
Yeah.
big argument one.
Yeah.
Another one that I remember seeing is that like women say that men shouldn't hit back even if a woman hits them because they should be able to keep cool, and then
Yeah.
that's what men are like. But the woman didn't keep her cool and hit him,
Yeah.
so why should he be responsible for
Yeah.
keeping his own cool? But to me, it's like if you're being hit by a girl who's smaller than you, dude, this is tricky.
That's why it's
I would
tricky.
say,
Cause
I would
it's
say
like-
in textbook definition, report it. But after that, like I wouldn't know how to.
I would say just push her. Don't
you
punch
know what?
her.
I know my
That
opinion.
could trigger more.
I know my opinion. I
Yeah.
think that you shouldn't hit back. No matter what, you shouldn't hit back. I think
What if the woman's bigger than you?
run away.
I run
Yeah,
away.
like lock yourself away and
Or,
call like authorities. or
Yeah, 'cause
something. that's your best
just-
answer.
I just feel like it's just too like.
Don't
It's,
stoop
it's
to their
violence.
level, man.
It's violence on
Yeah,
violence.
don't stoop to their level. Don't hit back.
I feel
man.
like you shouldn't hit anybody to be. But like, all right, so then if a guy hits you, you shouldn't hit back. Just to
don't stoop to their level, man.
So you
Okay.
agree you shouldn't hit.
But I
anybody
understand
Yeah,
that.
I wouldn't want to like. I'll try to like back up.
I understand
pussy or not,
emotion,
fair,
bro.
pussy or
I
not.
understand
Fair, fair.
emotion and anger and like in the moment it feels so much different. But I think honestly, when
yeah,
you think about the
100%.
objective reasons, even the law,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you shouldn't hit back.
Yeah.
You shouldn't answer to violence with more violence.
No, 100%. It's just. I guess it's just trickier with women because it's like I said, it's like yeah, it probably hurts, but you could probably kill her, bro.
Mhm.
You know?
Or you can like look back.
Because
on
I
you.
remember in high school, I had a friend, and fucking he was drunk, and I forgot what he was saying. I don't remember what he was saying,
Yeah.
but he was kind of saying like jokes at the expense of like women. And I
Yeah.
remember my other friend, she slapped him like stupid hard, like across the face.
Mhm.
And I remember my friend, he just like sat there and he just took it. Like I could tell he was just like using everything in his body like just to relax and like
Yeah.
and not like hit her back. And he was just like, he just took it. And he was like 6'1", and she was like 5'2". Like,
Respect.
you know,
Respect,
obviously,
yeah.
so obviously he's not gonna hit her back. But I remember that was one of the first times in my life where I was like, damn, like especially knowing him, I was like, if that was a dude, he for sure would have
Yeah.
fucking hit him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, but because she was a chick, he understood. Like, nah, I need to relax. I
Yeah.
need to not do anything. So
Yeah.
I think that's the answer, man. I
Yeah.
think just don't do
Oh,
anything.
yeah.
You know, there's mutual combat laws in like different states.
What is that? I've been hearing that. What is
It's Pretty
that?
much, both parties are in agreement for like mutual combat, like, but it can go to a degree where you like
Murder?
murder. Like,
So basically,
implicate-
if the girl hit the guy first,
let's say me and you are like, I don't know, you were in a bar like
Yeah.
fight, and we're like, oh fuck, we'll take that outside,
Yeah.
and like, what's that word called? When you just agree and you're like,
Consent,
sportsmanship, I guess.
sportsmanship.
Sportsmanship. Like,
What?
just respect, out of respect, like,
Yeah.
like take it outside, deal with it,
Yeah.
and then after that, just like shake hands.
Uh-huh.
That's what they like try to go for in mutual combat laws.
Oh, so where it's
Like-
like nobody really goes to jail. You just
Yeah,
kind of like
like-
are like, all right,
That's
well,
a
Bash it
law?
out, you
It's an
bash it
actual
out.
law
Yeah,
in-
it's in Texas. One of them is in Texas.
Oh, really? But so it's not here in California?
I don't think so.
I guess that makes sense.
do you agree with that?
Yeah, would you agree with that?
I
Michelle?
guess I think a lot of people like agree with that because they think it's like a movie where they're like, we'll settle things like men,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
And maybe like if maybe sometimes it works out like that, but I
I
think
don't
a lot
know,
of
man.
people I think a lot of people underestimate how dangerous fighting really is.
Yeah.
And how like serious it can get.
I mean, Joe Rogan talks about it all the time, and not to be like a Joe Rogan dick rider, but he knows it. If there's one thing he knows, it's fighting.
Yeah.
He's done it his whole life. He commentates for UFC,
Yeah.
so he at least knows that. He's educated in
Yeah.
that. And he talks about how like any fight that you're in, if it's boxing or a
Mhm.
brawl in the street, you're gonna get brain damage. It's just like it may just be a little bit, it may be a lot. It may not show up until like 15 years later, but you're gonna get brain damage. You hit something like as soft as your fucking brain, like hitting it against anything, bone, stone, like it's gonna fuck you up. And so I think like in my opinion, if there's a mutual combat law and both parties are like, fuck it, let's do it. That's on them, man.
Yeah.
That's on them. If they really think they got it like that, that's on them. Yeah, you're right. Like shit can hit south very quickly.
Yeah.
But hey, man, they agree to it. That's
Yeah.
consent. That's consent. When people have sex, they know that they can get pregnant. Some of them do. Some
Yeah.
of them
That's
don't.
a weird.
That's a
connection.
weird analogy, but
It works.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take
They're
it.
consenting, you know.
I'll take it.
They're consenting.
They know
yeah.
the risks.
Yeah, they know the risks.
But like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think dudes should hit women. Period.
You don't think they should? Do you think they should bring back dueling? You know how that used to be a
like
law.
with
Dueling?
guns?
How you could
How
like.
would you bring it back though?
I feel like you have to have witnesses, at least 2 witnesses.
So
guns?
like you're using guns still?
Like guns or like
Um,
swords or some shit, or like
I feel
just
like
fist
it'd have
fights?
to be. You could choose. Pick your
Oh, you
pick
can
your
choose your
choice. Yeah,
weapons?
but it has to be.
They have to both agree.
Yeah, they
So
have
you
to both
You
agree.
can legally kill someone then.
Yeah, I what do you think that's a hot take? Is that a hot take? Should I take it back?
Is it like the
Hot
purge?
take.
No, that's not the purge because that's like unconsensual. But if 2 parties are like, fuck it, let's
could
fight to
see
the
it
death.
If they're like, all right, let's put on some boxing gloves
Yeah.
and we'll settle it.
But
But I don't know about like, let's get guns and let's use.
let's
like,
Well,
the
fight
but
fast-
let's
to
say
the
the scenario. Let's say
Nah, then
No?
nah. I feel like relax. I don't. Nothing's ever that serious where you need to.
yeah,
But bro,
yeah.
but you don't think that like that should be a freedom that people deserve? If
To
two
kill each
parties,
other?
yeah, if 2 parties
You can
like
cheat. I feel
genuinely
like
want to
you
kill
can
each
cheat in
other,
I feel like a freedom. Nah, I don't know about that. I don't know
nah.
about that.
You can like cheat so many ways in those things.
So if 2 guys who have had like a like let's say they're in their 50s, they've hated each other since they were like in high school, since they were like 16,
It's
and they're like,
fucked
I don't think I'll
already.
ever get over this until that guy's dead. And as long as we can do this in a consensual way where there's witnesses and it's between me and him, you don't think they should have that freedom to kill each other?
Is it really that serious?
I know.
bro?
If
No
it's
way,
them,
that's
I'm
it.
like just bring in the scenario where it is that serious.
Nah. I feel like relax.
Nah.
Yeah,
All right.
Relax.
Then I give up. I'm not gonna.
Bro
I'm not
thinks
gonna
he's- bro
lobby
thinks-
for this.
Bro thinks
this
he's
one.
gladiator.
I guess.
Dude.
But what did she say? Bro thinks he's
Bro
what?
thinks he's gladiator.
Yeah.
Relax.
I guess we've evolved beyond that, right? Is that too barbaric?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
more
feel like,
barbaric.
come on, bro. Like, you really gotta kill. So you're so mad, you gotta kill
You
somebody.
can talk it out mutually.
You're so mad, you gotta kill somebody. You can't like.
He's
you
always
can't-
on your mind.
That's
you,
true.
You can't live your life unless this guy's not living. Relax.
That's true. I guess to not kill is the more noble thing to do, right?
Yeah, that's the true manly thing to do.
Wow.
Is
Okay.
to be better than the person.
I
you
like
hate.
that. I like that.
So,
It kind of reminds me of have you heard that thing, to be optimist and be positive is to be more honorable than being like sad and
I agree.
being pessimistic?
I agree.
Because like it's easy to look at the world and see the pain and see how much suffering there is,
It's like
and to
that
be like,
chat.
man, the world is
Mhm.
fucked up. But it's more honorable to be like, you know what, tomorrow will be better.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm,
That's what I stand by
exactly.
now.
Well, also
Yeah,
with
right.
that killing thing though, like let's say those 2 guys hate each other, and then like one of them wins. I guarantee you, their sons are gonna hate each other too. They're
That's how
like,
you create more.
they're gonna be
Oh.
like, oh, you fucking, you cheated. Your dad cheated, and I'm gonna avenge him. I hate you,
That's a
motherfucker.
cycle.
An eye for an eye
That's
makes the
literally-
world go
that's literally
blind.
Gangs
Mhm.
everywhere
That's
now.
gangs.
That's gangs.
True, true,
That's how animals settle things, bro.
true. I guess don't make me a politician then. I was about to pass it too.
You're
and
about to
then,
be like, no questions asked.
I mean, it makes
You-
sense.
you
to
guys
me.
wanna kill each
He
other?
thought he was on something.
I thought I did something, bro. I really thought I did something.
But we never really got into it. So what conspiracies do you guys actually believe in? Like, or at least you're kind of like, I'm not fully convinced that this is wrong either. You know, you don't have to say like I completely believe in it, but like, what do you think is like? I feel like they should investigate this further.
9/11.
You think 9/11 for you?
I feel like it's kind of obvious for 9/11.
Also, 9/11 is too easy.
It's too. I feel
What?
like, I feel like it's become too not sensitized. But
Oh, okay,
overused.
yeah,
Overused.
yeah. I
Not
get what you
yet.
mean.
Well, it's because at least for me,
And we
that's
all,
that's the
like,
only
yeah,
one
we
I
all
really
know.
know. And
Yeah.
like after that, I didn't really like. I don't really get into conspiracies as much.
Low key, we're like, yeah, we all know George Bush did it.
Oh, everybody's like, it's like OJ.
Can
Yeah,
I
it's
make
like
up a
OJ.
conspiracy theory right now on the fly that I kind of believe?
Okay,
Yeah,
what?
go
Which
ahead. What
is-
is it? It better be
I
good.
feel like I don't know. This is on the fly. This is off the
Off
cuff.
the
Will we
dome.
get on the watch list
This
after
is off the
this?
cuff. I don't know. I feel like there's like chemicals being put in our food that doesn't actually disadvantage us, but it benefits us. The government is putting in like stuff in our food to make us like superior to other countries. I don't know. Like I said, I'm coming up with this on the fly.
I don't know. I feel like it's the opposite.
It's the opposite.
I
Why
hear people
they want
say
us
that,
to be
like-
more dumb?
I hear people say, probably yeah.
How nationalistic do you think the government actually is?
I don't think they're nationalistic.
I
I
think they're
actually,
more-
I don't know.
You don't think they care for us?
I think they're more 1%.
I think they, yeah, I think they give a fuck about the people who are paying them.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, I think Elon Musk is American, so the government is American.
Elon Musk isn't American.
No, but his companies are
His
like,
company's
I
American,
get
bro.
you.
Yeah, like, you know.
Amen.
All right, my
like,
bad.
he's paying the politicians, so like, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they're. I don't know.
So
I
the-
mean, maybe.
Like one example I would say is the water here. Like a lot of people say there's no like tap water, mineral water. It all sucks compared to other countries that have like minerals in their water. That's why they don't drink a lot of water.
I hate when I see on TikTok and it's all these Europeans that are like, your food sucks, your
Yeah.
water sucks.
Mhm.
Have you seen people say that the water here tastes like sugar water or some shit?
Are you
Or
serious?
No.
they're not sugar water, but they say that the water here tastes heavy and that it's nasty. But the water in Europe is light and it's like tastes like water.
What?
I'm being serious. Like on TikTok, you haven't seen that? Or that they
feel
say, or that they say like,
Nah,
you
that's a
can't-
conspiracy
or that they
right
can
there.
eat bread for like every meal and never gain any weight, and that they've gone to Europe and eat bread all the time, and that they've actually lost weight.
So if we eat bread here, we get fat.
But when they eat bread here, that they get fat.
Yeah.
Why would that
Um,
be?
And they say it's because of the shit they put in,
Yeah.
that it's just preservatives and all that shit.
Like compare Cokes from different countries. Like
Okay, I've
yeah.
heard that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I
So-
think other countries, like I know Mexico, made like a lot of stuff that the U.S. uses here in their food illegal.
Oh really?
That's why, bro. That's why. Oh my god. That's why fast food, like pizza, like Papa John's or like Domino's, over there in Mexico,
It's fire.
is so fucking bomb. Yeah, because it not only is it like they made it legal like to use like artificial like
They have to use
ingredients,
real food.
but also like the farm's just like
Down the
fucking
street.
like right next to them. Yeah.
Oh, it's like In and Out.
Yeah, it's like in or not. Yeah. So yeah, I mean those conspiracies that there's definitely at least something in our food. I'm probably right.
I don't think it's like intentional though. I don't think they're like
Just cheap.
Really?
Wait till they try this, you know? I think it's just more like they're like, this will save us some money.
You know what conspiracy is probably true?
What?
I bet you everything on the news and like Twitter and like all that stuff, I bet you all that shit is like actually to make us all hate each other.
Speaking of that, do you think like Andrew Callahan got himself on the list?
Because of his
Like-
documentary?
Like he's a contender for the CIA's #1
No, I don't want to go that
for
far,
the,
but
for
like
the
you
journalist of the
think,
year.
you think he's got an
He-
attention of that as like a
he's-
journalist that's like non-sided at all?
Well, what's weird about like if you watch his movie, you've seen it?
Not yet.
Is he kind of like, in a way, he's showing that all that stuff, all those conspiracies are kind of bullshit because
Yeah.
like they're made by people who are just projecting like their own like hate onto other people.
Yeah.
But I do think he is definitely in at least like unfavored by like both the liberals and the conservatives, because he kind of like exposes both sides in his movie. He kind of says that the left like, well, they do with the same thing the right do. They're literally just the same thing.
Fear-mongering,
They're a
man.
mirror
Yeah.
of each other. That it's all just a show. It's all just a facade. So I think he at least has gotten himself like excommunicated from both sides, because they're all in the news, like all those TV shows. They're always at least headed by either one side, either the conservatives or the liberals. People say the liberals own most media, like most mainstream media.
The liberal.
Yeah, so he's definitely at least been I don't know about put on a list, but he's at least been taken out of like something.
Oh, I get what you
You
mean.
know?
I get what you mean.
He can only really post on YouTube or like exclusive things like HBO Max, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's you're never gonna see him get like a TV show on a network, you know.
I think what he's doing is cool. I think it's like revolutionizing news.
Yeah,
Like it's more like what news should be.
bro. One of the things he talks about in the movie, well, he doesn't talk about, but another thing that's just kind of like shown, is that like clout, like in modern day, it has become like a very big like almost currency that you don't
Yeah.
see. It's like an invisible thing. It's funny because he shows it through this like Florida guy who's like covered in tattoos, and he just wants to be like famous, like social media famous.
Yeah.
And he was weirdly spits a really deep quote. He's like, the reason they do this is the reason most people post on the internet. It's like clout, bro. Clout gives you everything. It can give you everything you ever want. It can give you money, give you fame, can give you relevancy, a legacy. It can give you everything, bro. Like clout can give you everything, and that's what people are just addicted to nowadays.
Clout.
And yeah, clout. Yeah, and it was weirdly like kind of spitting, and it's so funny because he's literally like this skinny like Florida guy covered in
He's literally
tattoos. Oh,
Florida.
he has tattoos in Joker makeup.
Oh,
So
yeah.
his face is
And it's the
permanently
first-
Joker.
It's the first thing you see.
Well,
Yeah,
Spoilers, but you know.
yeah, spoilers. But he's the first thing you see. Yeah.
I remember we were like,
You
"What
skipped
is
the
this
Matrix.
about?"
I know.
He learned the Matrix.
He escaped the Matrix.
Do you guys think that's true?
What do you mean? In what way?
Matrix?
Like, all right, in what way? Like, are you
Not
saying-
in the sense of there's actually a simulation.
You mean like escape the Matrix in the sense of like leave the societies? Like,
yeah, the system.
Yeah. Maybe, but not in the way that they present it. Like where it's like you escape by starting a business and invest in crypto and shit. You know? I don't know about that, but I'm sure you can, right? No?
I don't think you can, man. I've
think
talked about this
so.
before. I think if the Matrix exists or whatever it is, even if it's not like a computer simulation, it's just a set of rules and regulations that you kind of have to live by.
I think an individual can, but I think a lot of people who try to do it individually, they try to do it like with a group. Like let's I don't think Andrew Tate is doing it, but like you know how Andrew Tate is escape the Matrix, but he has like a bunch of people, like followers. I don't think you could do it like that. Because I think that's when, if there is a Matrix, I think that's when they give a fuck. But if you're like John Smith, who lives in the middle of Kentucky, and nobody would ever notice if you were gone, I think, yeah, if it's just you, you can. But I don't know about like if you want to like start a cult following.
Yeah, maybe because I mean the people who have probably escaped the Matrix, we've probably never heard of them.
Yeah.
They were that low key, you know.
Like,
they were that low
or
key.
like people want to escape the Matrix by getting famous, or like you know,
Yeah,
it's
for
kinda
real.
I feel like you're becoming the Matrix, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I was telling my sister, you know those conspiracies about the Illuminati?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I almost don't want to believe it, just because if I was like a big celebrity, I feel like I'd put like subliminal messaging all the time in my shit as a joke. Like literally nothing connects, like nothing makes sense. But it's just funny to see people like try and make sense of
Trying
it.
to make sense of it.
Yeah, but that's me because I told you I like pranks. Like I said in the beginning of the
You're a
the
big
episode.
prankster.
I'm a very big prankster. Yeah, I'll probably fake my death. I'll probably do those things that Elvis did, where it's like dead at 56, and then people spot me. Like,
Oh,
Like Tupac
big
and all that.
yeah,
You're in Cuba, actually?
Yeah, I'll probably do that. Yeah. So if you ever hear of me, bro, don't cry. Trust me, that's not me in the casket.
Yeah, he's in
Like
Cuba.
we know this, but like backup
Yeah,
plan and everything.
I know, right?
Yeah, actually, maybe I'll edit it out so that way people don't know.
Shelter back in his home in Mexico or something like that.
I'm like Thanos. I'm like
Bruh.
cooking in my
Oh,
own.
what was he cooking?
What-
Yeah, what was he cooking, bro? What was he cooking? We'll never know.
And then you see like a helicopter coming, like, we need you back.
I don't know.
Bruh.
I don't.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't believe in the Illuminati, but I'm sure there's elites that are like bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's probably like a club, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
no.
right? Like there's probably like,
No, let's be real. Like, let's be
there
real,
has
bro.
to be like a clique, you know? Like there
Yeah.
has to be like their friends. They're like we're
Yeah,
proud,
man.
you know?
I mean, mobs exist, cartels exist. You're
Yeah.
telling me the rich and powerful don't
Yeah.
have their own like bad boys club?
Yeah, I don't think it's like they're lizards.
Hey, you never know, bro. Denver Airport.
Maybe.
What's so wrong with lizards, bro?
I don't think there's anything wrong. It's just ridiculous to me.
Did you see that on the videos we saw about how like the reason why people might be fixated on lizard people is because lizards and snakes literally
Oh,
like
yeah.
specifically there's like a neuron in your brain that was specifically evolved and
To
like
detect
made
them?
to detect snakes and like lizard
Reptilians?
creatures. No, he said it in the video, and he said that's why like people probably like see them as the enemy, is because it's there's
Yes.
literally embedded in us through evolution to not like them.
Lizard people.
Like,
Bro, that's
my
why.
enemy would
Because
be
I mean,
crabs.
because
Crabs.
What do you
Even
what do
in
you
the
mean? What do
Bible.
you mean? What do you mean? Like,
Oh,
we have something in our
he
brain.
he was just explaining in the video they were explaining that there's neurons in your brain that only respond to snakes because snakes are obviously like venomous, right? So like he's saying that maybe that's why people are so fixated on lizard people, because it's like there's a part of your brain that sees like reptilian snake stuff as like evil, so
Yeah.
you associate the two things. So
yeah,
I don't
like
know.
you don't see that with anything else. Like we don't see, like even though there's like lions are dangerous, right? We see them as like cute and cuddly sometimes, right? But specifically in our brain, they've experimented and they found that we react differently when we see lizards and snakes. And I mean, it might explain too why in the Bible, like the devil
Is a snake?
is a snake, is because we're just naturally
No,
predisposed.
See, that's what they want you to think. That's what they were telling us from the beginning.
Oh, that reptilian people have always
You know,
been here.
I didn't know until we saw the video that that part of the reptilian thing was global warming, and that they want the world to get hotter because lizards and
Are cold blooded.
survive.
yeah, and they need a warmer climate. That's pretty funny. Almost, it's a little creative. Almost.
Yeah, it is creative.
It's creative.
It's pretty funny.
They had to, bro. They had to live up to it. You know.
I just think that the craziest thing would be if that shit was true. Like on my deathbed, like
Are you
like,
serious?
Like, are you like
Lizards
are you
announce
serious?
themselves to the world.
Bro.
Oh, right as I am about to die. I'd
Yeah.
be like, well, I dodged a bullet, but
Damn.
Well, what if
Guess
it
I'm not
happened?
living through this.
It happened like 10 years from now. Would you be
Whoa.
mind blown?
Like Terminator stuff?
No, you know what? You know what's funny is that I agree with what you said. I forgot what it was, but we talked about if one conspiracy is true, does that mean they're all true? And
Yeah.
if that's true, I'd be pretty scared.
Yeah.
Like if I found out reptiles were true, does that mean like, oh my god, like there's an ice wall?
Yeah.
There really is a matrix? Like
The Earth is flat,
I feel like my brain would
Earth
almost
is flat.
explode trying to comprehend it all.
right? I don't know. But like going back to the whole Illuminati thing, like with the whole Jeffrey Epstein stuff and like all that stuff, there's definitely like a club. There's like a
There has to be.
there's like a frat. There's like an
There's
Yeah.
no
evil,
frat.
there's like an evil frat.
Like Skull and Bones.
Yeah, like where they do bad shit. Cause I mean they obviously like their headquarters was that island,
Yeah.
right?
Evil people exist, man. Evil people exist.
But I guess maybe that's why it's kind of like. So then the Illuminati exists. So it's like,
I know, right? So we just, bro.
We're saying the Illuminati exists.
Breaking
not saying the
news
Illuminati-
discovered on Todo Chido podcast. We
Or
just
the free.
It exists.
I don't know. I'd be.
Will
pretty
our video get banned for saying that?
I guess.
Hopefully
I
not.
guess I don't. Part of me also doesn't want it to be real because, like, you know how David Dobrik says that he ran into people like that. I'm worried that I don't want to run into that.
people like that.
Because it sounds like those are the kind of people where you can't say no to them. You
Oh,
know, or like
yeah.
if they tell you join us. Like you can't be like I'm good. Like they'll be like all right.
Yeah.
You're an enemy now.
Or like we'll catch something on you. Like we'll get some dirt on you, and you'll be sorry you said no.
Hey, bro. You put a dirt on a seed and it'll grow.
Oh,
Put all the dirt
okay.
you want on me.
He's working,
working
for
for them?
them.
I don't know. That kind of scares me. No.
To meet someone like that.
Yeah, like let's say in this scenario, like we're like at Creator Con or some shit, like that. and like some guys like invites us to like the headquarters. He's like, you know, we really like you guys. We think you guys could bring a lot to the club, you know. And then he gives us his little like we buy junk cars card, you know.
Oh, I get you.
And it's like he gives us like a
wink and
a
a
wink and
nod.
you know?
What? He's a lizard?
No, but like, you know.
No, that's
he-
part of their code.
Oh, that's part of just like
That's
their-
just like they're
That's how
making
they say
fun of
what's
it.
up?
Like he's like, you know. You wouldn't be scared.
Yeah, I'd be bummed. I'd be like, man, I'm like I literally would like I would think about killing myself. Not even gonna lie, bro.
Would you leave something behind though if you were to?
I'd just be so scared, man. I'd be so scared. I don't know.
Cause like you can't say no to them, but if you say yes, you're like a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. I can't say no to them though. That's
Well,
not
cause
fair.
right.
Now they know. Now they told you their secret.
They told, yeah.
Why would they
now-
let you just go
Damn.
away?
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, but like I think what we're doing now is like putting out that we would say no, so they wouldn't offer us in the beginning.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mm.
They know we're snitches.
Yeah.
No,
So they wouldn't
it's
trust us to begin with. Yeah.
Don't ask us. So don't ask.
Don't
us.
ask, cause
Don't ask.
we're not gonna say yes.
I like what you said too. When you were like, if I was president, I hope they don't tell me aliens are real.
Yeah.
Like I hope they just keep it to themselves.
That's pretty scary. See, 'cause I wouldn't be able to handle that.
No, if you guys were president, you wouldn't ask like the FBI or CIA if aliens
I
are
don't
real.
think you like ask. I think they straight up tell you because that's what Obama kind of winked at. Remember that? Go ahead.
I have a scenario. So what if you were the president and they're like, Mr. President, the portal opened back up in Antarctica.
What?
Like the portal opened.
I'd be like, oh, I didn't sign up for this. I
I'm
thought
like, you need to renew the treaty of like some
Intergalactic, like, federation? I mean, like, bro, you guys should advertise this.
I
Because
know,
if I
right?
knew, I wouldn't have ran.
Yeah. I'd be like, can I resign and let the VP?
Can I
Can I let
resign?
the
And
VP
then, like,
immediately?
You gotta go and like
Aw.
all
What-
the world,
what-
all the
or-
world leaders are there too.
Or what if they're like, oh, you can resign, but obviously we can't tell you why,
Yeah, they
so
go off the
we're
grid.
gonna have to put like a scandal on you.
Yeah, like
Damn.
whatever.
Yeah.
That's what we did with Nixon, literally.
Yeah, Nixon just wanted out because of the alien shit.
I'd do it, but I wouldn't. I'd be like I'd like complain a lot. I'd be like annoying.
Would you fake your death?
Nah, I'd go see what's up.
Would you fake your death?
Man.
These are
would
these are
you
the
do,
questions they
Julie?
want to listen to.
Me?
What would you do? And you were the first woman president.
Like,
Damn, you're the first woman president, and they
You
hit
can't
you,
resign, bro.
and they hit you with the lizard people treaty.
lizard
Like, we gotta do it. That's what luck.
I would just ask questions like, why don't you guys want to tell people?
We can't give you that information right now.
Classified.
Classified.
So then I'm not president. Like, I thought I was in charge. Like,
I know, right? For real.
I'm not.
For real, for real.
I need to know, what am I signing? I need to know why I'm signing it.
The most like realistic and nightmare scenario for me is if they show me like one of those alien ships like in the thing where it's like, oh yeah, we have it, but it's like super old. I'd be pretty scared.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can handle. You wouldn't be
Like,
scared.
Why
They're
would
like,
you,
we
why would
also
you be
have the
scared
body.
though?
You want to see the body?
Yeah, okay, well, why would you be scared?
You would, because doesn't that like reshape everything to you? Where it's like they discovered like an ancient alien ship that's been around since prehistoric times, millions of years old, before it predates people, period. And we've been studying this since people could write, but we could this is we get a lot of our technology from it. We're experimenting, but we're miles away from even comprehending it. To hear that like an intergalactic like society was here millions of years before we are, and we just barely got like phones and shit, I'd be like, oh, that's a little scary.
Oof, yeah.
You
It's
know?
also like low-key an existential crisis.
Exactly.
It's like an existential nightmare.
You know?
To see
And
a real UFO, the government straight up telling you like, no, this is
But
real.
don't they allude that it is real though?
Yeah, but,
So
well,
then,
at least
so then why is it that now you guys don't believe it though?
They don't. What do you mean?
Well,
No.
Let's
Hey,
say,
what-
for example, they're trying to recreate that one ship. That's why there's a lot of UFOs.
No,
you're talking about the Bob Lazar shit, right?
Who do you mean? What do you mean allude that it's real? Like when they release
Like
the UFO?
alien, yeah, like the UFO stuff.
I guess because with that is that they don't
'Cause you haven't
allude-
seen
they
it?
don't allude that it's real. They
Yeah,
just say
I wouldn't say they don't.
They just
yeah.
say that they don't know what it is. And to me, I feel like when they release that, it means that they probably that it's not as significant as people think it is if they're releasing it. You know what I mean? If the government
Oh, so you think if it was actually significant
If
of
it
like
was
showing
ac-
evidence of
if it
alien
was
life?
actually concerning, like, oh shit, like this might be actually an alien, I don't think we'd see it at all. I think they send it to their top men and be like, all right, we need to figure this out, you know? Because what the fuck? What would they show us for? You know? They don't even tell us what kind of like weapons they're making. They're gonna tell us that
Aliens are real.
yeah, you know.
You're spitting.
So
yeah.
like, I feel like if I saw that, my first question would be like, are they coming back? Like, because I hope they're not. You know?
I thought you, Julie, you were talking about the Bob Lazar stuff
Oh,
about how
that's-
he's yeah.
No, because that's
About
what.
what he saw or whatever.
Well, because he says
Yeah.
it's basically that.
Yeah, that's
that is
basically
what
true. What everything he was saying was
happened.
true.
Like in the thing, like
That like we found an alien spacecraft like buried deep like somewhere, and it's actually like millions of years old.
but it's not true.
I mean,
Well,
it's
I
not
mean-
like, it's not like the
Scenario,
government's
it's a
like
scenario.
the government's like
yeah.
no. I mean,
Well, no,
we're
no. She's talking about the Bob Lazar
Oh,
thing.
Bob's right.
He's like,
You know what
he's,
it is?
He's just he's like a guy who says he used to work at Area 51.
I remember that.
Yeah, and they would like they had this advanced technology that like they just work on, and
Mhm.
it's millions of years old, but it's obviously alien.
And it's really advanced, so they can't figure out. Like,
Yeah, so
what it
every
is.
10 years when the
Yeah.
technology catches up, they do some more shit.
Yeah.
But then they hit like a brick wall because
Bro, but that's so bizarre. Like the Bob Lazar stuff is so bizarre. Have you seen the thing about people analyzing his behavior and like the way he speaks, and like it shows that he's like at least he's telling what he thinks is the truth,
yeah.
and like it doesn't show that he's lying.
Well, because they try to discredit him, right? Because the colleges don't recognize
Yeah.
his degrees.
Yeah,
right?
and he says that like, well, yeah, they obviously scrubbed my record.
yeah.
Yeah, but like there's been videos of people like there's a psychologist. At least there's two. There's a psychologist, and then there's a guy who's like a master at like reading. He's like he used to work for like the FBI or some shit, and he's like, I mean, as far as he's saying all these things, he's telling the truth. But at the same time, a lot of like sociopaths and stuff like it is the same thing. They're saying whatever they perceive as the truth. They're just
Yeah.
they're just really good liars.
Yeah.
So, but that's just one thing about Bob Lazar that's weird is that obviously he doesn't seem like he's lying, and like he's
Yeah.
really good. If what he's saying is true,
He's being mind
it's kind of scary.
I don't know. that to me is like a scary scenario. Like that's something like I don't think I'd be able to handle. Like it would keep me up if I was like in a position of power and they told me about that, even if it wasn't like concerning. If they're like, nah, we don't think they're coming back. Like, but we have it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like an existential crisis.
Mhm.
I'd be like, that's interesting because it's like, damn, like what happened to them? Like they didn't make it. Well, I hope we
Yeah.
don't run into that problem.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. I mean, everything's cool, you know.
But everything's evolving into a crab.
Yeah.
That's what we've mentioned that, right?
Yeah, we've mentioned that
That's
before.
kind of weird, right?
Is it really though?
It's more like there's a lot of what is it? There's a lot of species of crab that aren't actually crabs. They just look like crabs. But a lot of things are evolving convergently into like a crab-like structure.
What the fuck?
Like nature likes the structure of crabs. Like I guess they really hit a home run.
It's
with
like
I
that.
guess that's like, yeah, that's
Peak.
peak
That's-
like
that's
life.
That's peak life is the crab. So
Well, shout out to Patrick for coming on the show. I hope we get to have you. I hope you enjoyed your time here.
Thank you for you guys for having
Is there
me.
anybody you want to give a shout out or anything you want to say before we leave this episode?
Shout out to my boys in SF. Just kidding.
Wow.
Shout out to my friends and family in LA. I'm glad to be back. I'll be back soon.
Cool.
thanks for
Brandon,
being our first guest, bro.
Thank you guys for
Yeah,
having
you're
me
our
as
first
your
guest,
first
man.
guest
You're-
on your new and improved.
Mm-hmm.
You're officially
Cheetos.
our first
Yeah.
guest.
You're gonna
That's
see it change too.
Yeah.
The whole thing's gonna be different.
That's I promise you that'll be a good flex one day.
Yeah.
It'll be like, oh, I was the first guest on Joe Rogan's, you know? Right?
I'll come back like in the 100th episode or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you
That
hundred too?
long?
I know.
100 seems special.
Okay. I can live with that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
for
We'll be every Thursday as always. You could now find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can listen to podcasts. We're there.
Mhm.
We're there.
And brand new. Shout out to my sister for getting that done for us. But we'll see you next week. Have a good Thursday.
Bye.
Bye.